Hello, everyone, and welcome to part 2 of the 2020 Paintathon Extraordinaire, where we're just painting a couple times before Thanksgiving. This is going to be the last stream of the week. We're heading out tomorrow, taking a couple extra days for Thanksgiving. And so we're painting this week, and the next week we're back to a slightly more normal schedule, of course. But yesterday, big news, Steven assembled his Arena Rex models. Sad story, if you weren't with us yesterday, TLDR is Steven had an Arena Rex army, assembled, painted, and it disappeared like John Cena.
It disappeared. Well, I don't know. I think I left it somewhere. I think I left it in a hotel.
It's gone.
Yeah, but it's not here. Yeah.
So yesterday, you assembled your entire force, which was impressive because Arena Rex notably has great models, but also incredibly difficult to assemble models. So you put them together, and then I went home and primed them, and they're ready to go.
Yeah, they look good. Now is the hard part, though.
It is.
Now you got to actually paint them. And you got the tiger sorted too, yeah? No? Yeah.
I didn't do any of that. So to prime him, you have to green stuff him.
Yeah.
And that's not an easy process.
We don't have any.
I have green stuff.
Well, where is it?
You want it?
You got it with you?
Yeah.
Oh, heck yeah, man. I'll finish the priming, or the modeling process. Am I going to use the contrast paints today?
I don't have my green stuff with me, or maybe I do.
Man, it's like it's real arts and crafts.
Well, I normally have these very.
I don't think it's in the.
It's not in the pile.
Citadel bottles.
It actually looks just like that.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
I thought it was like in that tube.
No, so there's the blue and yellow stuff you like mix together.
Yeah.
But there's also some that just comes in a little pot pre-mixed.
Oh, cool.
So I don't have that, but that's fine.
All right, tiger's off.
It's another tale for another time.
How's everybody doing today? Let's give a little shout. What's up, Van? Good to see you. Happy to see you as always, and happy to see your classic greetings up, fellas. That's how I know we've officially begun streaming in Damn Jam. Hello. Hi.
Hello there.
Yeah, of course. The real question I have here, Zach.
Yep.
What am I gonna do? Like, do you have like a color scheme going into this kind of a thing?
So,
do you think about your...
I mean, you should probably have a concept, but like, what up, Brandon? We are doing well. Hope you're doing well as well. Locator Gaming checking in. Now we've really started. I'd also love to know who all out there is just listening and who's actually painting. Because I know Tom earlier was saying he's going to be doing some drawing work while this is going on.
Very good.
So, things to think about. You're probably going to do skin colors and various skin tones and whatnot. That's not fancy. But like, you know, this model's got this crazy fur thing going on.
Yeah.
So you got to decide what color is that animal. Same with the net.
I mean, all these things, we should have one color that kind of unites the set, right? Is that how painters think?
I mean, interestingly though, like most of these, it's not like, I don't know, most factions in war games, because like, you know, you don't have a color that's your predominant thing that's going on. Maybe you do. I'm assuming it's going to be a blue of some sort.
Good assumption.
Yeah, water, nets, etc.
Good assumption. Yeah.
But you know, like I assume the shields are probably brownish wood colors.
Yeah.
Skin tones. The armor is going to be a metal.
Yeah.
Metal vibe of some kind. But you know, there's various metals. You can go gold. You can go silver. When it comes to metal, you're gonna have to decide: are you painting straight up metal, or are you painting non-metallic metal, which is a whole different ball game?
Non-metallic metal. Oh, like you did on the shield?
Yep. I mean, that's different. That's extreme. It's more like so like the hammer, I didn't paint in like a shiny.
Mm-hmm.
Or like his bracers, how they have like.
Yeah, that's good. Top down.
So this is my Thor. The hammer is I want it to be like a black metal. Is what I was working with here. Is there a better example? So like his bracers particularly have like, and I did this one.
So that's like a process.
Yeah, so like this one, I have like a shine going right here. You can kind of see.
Yep.
Yeah. And it peaks on the dots and stuff. Or you can do like straight up. You know, I haven't painted anything like that in a while, but like I have metallic paints, silver, gold, and you can paint and shade and do all that kind of stuff. And those usually look good.
Oh yeah, I remember that's what I used on the little minions for Skytear. Yeah. And you have to like lay them on kind of thick.
They're thick. You can't water them down.
Yeah.
Is the thing about the metal.
Yeah. Okay.
Because there's literally flecks of metal going on.
I feel like I should be like using a lot of gold. I think gold and blue are complementary, aren't they? Those are pretty standard.
Those are complementary.
Isn't that the sausage that we got from FAA in school?
Blue and gold.
Blue and gold.
Yeah, there it is. Yeah, I mean, it would be a nice, like, if your metal colors are gonna lean gold or like a black dark metal.
Mm-hmm.
Those, so like, I'm picturing, grab this model. I don't know his name.
Gowler? Holler?
But like he's got this like shoulder piece on his arm,
Mm-hmm.
and it's like that being a nice like gold would look really good.
Yeah.
But then like his axe, you could make gold, but that seems like it would be really good to me in like a dark.
Yeah. Nobody has a golden axe. I'm not looking to.
Yeah, but see, he's also got this like, I guess it's more fabricy right there.
Mm-hmm.
But then he's got that same metal piece on his knee.
Everybody's got seemingly a little bit of metal. Sven's got a little metal on his shoulder. Frigg, she doesn't really. But we could put well, she does. She's got some gold shoulder. I guess, you wear a lot of armor when you're a gladiator. Yeah, so we could do metal on all these. So maybe that's an interesting place to start.
So there's a strategy to this as well. Which
Tell
we'll
me
cover
the
in a second.
strategy.
Yeah, let me answer some people real quick. Brandon saying, what up, guys? Hope you're doing well. We are. Locator, yep. Alex Becker, guess who's back? Back again. What up? Eddie, doing good. Taking a long weekend as well after today. Planning on nothing but bourbon and games all weekend. That sounds awesome. Calton saying, love the Star Wars CCG mug. This is my water cup right now. Someone sent this. It was a anonymous gift. We got mugs. I have my Raylo mug as well.
Got mugged.
Tom says he's working. Van says he's just listening. Eye's too bad to paint anymore. That's a shame. James saying he's assembling Ghost Rider. Are you off this week, James? Cool. He was he's kind of been in a miniature funk, so he's my like who would he be?
Spirit animal?
He would be like the Yoda in my painting experience.
Yeah,
he's not Obi-Wan, but
yeah.
He's definitely the Yoda.
You got to seek him out.
Alex saying just listening. Silver Shadow
looks like.
Just received my starter box for Song of Ice and Fire, so I have to prime first.
Very
nice.
cool.
That was a
Congrats.
fun game.
That's a great game.
Colin's working and sad about it. CJ says I left work an hour or so ago and then painting, or an hour or so left of work and then painting. Jamden saying painting. Kanan Jarvis from Imperial Assault. Nice.
Cool.
That was a good model.
A blast from the past.
Silver Shadow. Yeah, no assembly on that Song of Ice and Fire. That is one of the biggest benefits of that game. Samuel Slagger. I'm listening and starting Dunwich Legacy today after beating Knighted Zealot yesterday.
Oh, congrats. Very nice.
Whitey Sir saying, maybe you mentioned this, but any sealed Arcane Rising Unlimited soon? So, yes, I have some on order, and we're going to be streaming it once we have that. We didn't, we got, there's some weird stuff going on with tropical storms and stuff on the Arcane Rising supply, so we didn't quite get everything. So I'm at the back of the line to get my stuff. Tony saying, I finished my Thor yesterday. Surprisingly, I'm most happy with his Buddha or his boots. Van wants to know, is Arena Rex a good game?
It's a great game. It's a really great game, man. I also said it a million times. I think it's the best miniature skirmish system that there is.
It's really good. Sugi saying, look at that beautiful wet palette. Yeah, I'll be using it today. Ben Sweeney, there's a video game called Golden Axe. It's kind of like Golden Eye, but
who knew?
Medieval.
Never heard of it.
CT saying, I just got here. What primers do you guys use? So I have this year switched to using airbrush primer, and I would never, ever, ever, ever think about going back. The startup cost and the experience curve on an airbrush, if all you do is prime, is worth it. Like these models I primed last night, it's the middle of the night. The weather is bad for priming right now here because it's very wet outside. But so I could prime it in my house and like thin, even layers. It was super straightforward. Maybe there's 5 models here. This probably took me an hour and a half last night, max.
Really? That's a lot.
Well,
no, you're
part of it is you have to put a layer down and let it dry.
Mm-hmm.
So I had to do the black layer, worked on some stuff. So, mix and match. But it's not sticky. Like the weather, if it gets humid here in Oklahoma, which can make your primer sticky. It's not clumpy. It's super even coat. You can apply it right where you want it. It makes Zenithal priming super easy. So
yeah, this stuff looks
2
good.
thumbs up.
Looks great.
Psychogre saying,
shadows.
Yeah.
She's got a dynamic pose.
Yeah. That's what you can tell. So especially
cool.
if you're going to be using contrast paints, you want it to be brighter than you normally would make it.
Yeah.
That's just how you have to do it. But if you look from under a model, you can really see shadow. That's where if you look at him, he's kind of bright, but then which is the goal.
Yep. Okay. Good.
James saying, yeah, I'm off this week waiting on the carpet installers. Well, congrats on the new carpet, I guess.
That's a good time to do miniatures, I guess.
Alex says, this is the best part of painting, in my opinion. Picking the colors, and if it goes on and you don't like it, paint over it. I would say your team should have a trending colors to recognize them on the table. Mm-hmm. Jude saying he's assembling the last of his Marvel Crisis Protocol X-Men. Welcome to the club. Van says he's looking forward to our Cyber Monday tokens.
Yeah, me too.
Tom says, did I hear you say you got an anonymous gift? Someone mentioned in chat yesterday they sent you something and hoped it got there okay. That was a different thing. We did get that. The cups were from like earlier this year when we streamed Star Wars CCG. John, Sugi saying, Lordy, it's raining. I can't use my airbrush.
Yeah, true story.
And we finally caught up. Chris, as someone who lives in Minnesota, airbrush priming is needed given the winter months, wet spring, and humid summers. Yeah, I can imagine. So on strategy,
so are these all contrast paints?
Those are all contrast paints.
Oh wow.
Yeah. So I basically picked up all the ones that are like super recommended.
Yeah.
So there's black and white, which are fundamental. Then you have a lot of browns, because I'm planning on, I have some models that I'm planning, like my Lord of the Rings set that I got. I'm not planning on going ham on anything except for the Witch King. So I got things to paint that eventually. But what you'll see, which you'll know.
And do you mix, or do you just go right from the thing to the thing?
You can.
From the pot to the model.
You can do all the things. So there's a few things worth knowing. There's this contrast medium. So this is how you basically thin down these paints. Okay. You don't use water.
Oh.
Because one of the key materials in here is called, oh my goodness, what is it called?
Some sort of
It makes things
chemical?
very, like, what do you call it when they move very smoothly across a surface?
Not viscous?
Yeah, viscous was the word I was thinking.
The opposite of viscous?
Anyways, one of the main materials that's in here, or speculated to be in here, doesn't play well with water. It kind of separates the paint.
Okay.
So that's what this is about. So that's where, like yesterday, if you look at my beast, the black on his shorts, where you can kind of see that white coming through at the top of his pants. That was more, I used more of this, which is good. But then Storm, I didn't, because I was doing her first, and it's just kind of a more flat black, because it needed to be thinned down.
So you need to thin it more.
Yeah.
But
like this Apothecary White that I did here, I didn't thin at all. I did straight from the pot.
And that just basically looks gray.
Yeah,
almost looks straight
it's gray with a little hint of white, because then you go back in and highlight the top layers of white, which is the goal. So different ones of these are different strength. The colors here are all very prominent. And you'll notice I have the primary colors, RGB.
RGB.
So you can mix these. And when you mix them, you just have to mess with it. Because these are really strong, but some of the other ones aren't. So it depends on what you want. Like some people create a flesh tone by taking like a brown. Like I have a couple of these browns. They'll mix some white in and then give it like some red for some of the like warmth of a natural flesh tone. But I have a lot of different browns here to mess with.
Goodness.
And then there's a couple blues, and then there's a couple reds technically. So that's the spread. I was using them for the first time yesterday. So I am by no means an expert, but I have the things I need. That's one of the nice things about some of the weirder kind of off games that I'm looking at, is that it'll give me a chance to just like...
You don't have to worry about it.
Yeah, like I have those, it's the undead guys from Lord of the Rings. The Aragorn summons. So this, like if you do a base coat of like really bright white and then put this on it, it like makes them almost look glowy green.
A little zombie, which is glowy zombie. Okay, so where do you start? Like, so one thing that all these models have is flesh. One thing that all these models have is wood and metal. So I figure if I'm going to do it, I may as well do something that, you know, can get coverage on everybody. Start there, and then kind of come back in and work on individual details after I've done the main stuff that everybody's dealing with.
I think the main like thing you'll want to think about is like when you look at a model, essentially if painting anything is going to really mess up something else you're doing. Which I'm trying. Let me see.
So don't you paint that? Wouldn't you paint the high parts first? Because if you accidentally get some of the low parts, you're going to come back through with the low parts.
Well, I think it's more about like dark versus light. So one of the kind of tricks you can do, if you end up painting, like I painted, you'll see the like blue on Mystique's arm here. Right there. There is no amount of the white contrast paint that's ever going to cover that up.
Yeah.
It's there.
Yeah.
So the kind of secret tech is that you actually take a white straight up and you thin it down a little bit. And then I would, even if I wasn't painting white, if I just got blue on something I wanted to be red or whatever, and then you can basically just paint that white before you then do this piece. So it really just...
But then really you should start with your lightest colors, right? That way, if you paint over anything, you just go right over the top of it.
So if you start light, then you get like a dark color around it. If you get the dark on top of the light, you're going to have to redo the light piece. But if you start with the dark and dark gets onto a piece you need to be brighter, you'll paint it white and then you'll do your normal process. But like white on top of the black would never work. So if you start with the dark color, what you're doing with the lighter colors won't ever mess with the darker side.
Yeah. But wouldn't that, well, I guess, yeah, it just depends. Like, do you want to do the light colors, and then if you make a mistake with your light colors, it's super easy to paint over? Or do you want to do your dark colors, and if you make mistakes, you then have to paint white and then do your actual color?
Yeah, I think either way, if you make a mistake, you'll probably paint it white.
Yeah.
To go flat again, and then contrast over it.
Yeah. This is great.
Funny.
Yeah, exactly. This is how painting works.
Yeah, Chris says with contrast, you should always go light to dark. Jude says dark to light.
Yeah, that's where we're dealing with.
CJ is saying I always use snakebite leather because it creates an effect that is harder to achieve. Is that just, do you use that on brown in general? It's here. Or are you using that for skin tones? I'm curious. If I can find an easy skin, oh, that's the other thing.
Do we shake
some of these? Yeah, if you look at the bottom, see how this white is like got a thick at the bottom?
Like a little ring?
Like it's got the,
yeah, I see that.
You need to get all of that out.
Okay.
So you have to shake these real good. Chris saying, anyone saying dark to light hasn't used contrast enough?
All right, well, you've been doing a lot of black and white, so I feel like I want to have like a lighter theme. You know, like probably go light on the fur cloak here.
Sure.
Rather than doing like a dark. And probably light on the tiger. I talked about doing that in like white. So maybe that's the first thing to do.
Yeah. Now the nice thing too is like these layers are naturally pretty thin. And the stronger colors you'll want to tone down a little bit with the medium. But like if you end up not liking it after a couple layers, you just switch.
Yeah, that's the beautiful thing about the light stuff. Okay. So now I actually have to think here.
Yeah, there's definitely a protocol or a procedure to it. Okay. All right. Meantime, I'm gonna get mine. So I'm using a wet palette here, and it's basically got this foamy layer on the bottom, and it's soaked completely with water, and then it's got a almost like a cooking sheet on top of it. I don't even know what you call that. Material. So it's kind of cold to the touch. It's not wet. It's being protected. But I'm going to use this instead of a palette. I guess it is a palette of itself. But it keeps the paints active for longer. One of the nice things is that you can shut it and seal it. And when you do that, whatever paint is there will last a couple days. If you keep coming and put more water in, it'll last for a long time. So if I get a blend going that I really like or a couple color combinations, it's easy for me to keep continuing. Brandon G says, order some Cosmic tokens for Champions about an hour ago and already got a shipping notification. Thanks, TC.
Yeah, of course.
Hey, thanks for the order.
What's the best way to get that wood? Is there a good like contrast paint that's just going to make that easy for me?
So I have a lot of browns here. There's contrast wildwood, and like you can kind of see.
You see these ruins on the shield? Is that even a thing that I should do? Like, are you just tiny brush try to trace it?
So naturally, the other thing we have are, so like picture contrast paints as like the first couple of steps. So it's base coat plus what you typically do with like an ink, plus the first layer of like highlighting up a color. So like normally, let's say I was using black, this is literally the process I'm going to use today. So I would do a base coat of black, thin layers, and then not quite all the way into all the recesses of everything. I would go with like dark gray, and like I would mix these two. So I'd create this layer of paint in the middle, which I'll do, and then I would lighten it again with this deck tan, and then with beige, and then literally with a brown to give it some warmth. And I'm gonna literally paint all the way up to the highest point, like if a fabric was leaning over.
The highest point isn't gonna be this though, is it?
So this mixed with this. It basically gives it...
Why is the dark stuff on the high point? I thought the lightest stuff was on the highest points.
It is, but like, if you can imagine, and I might have these two in reverse order, it gets lighter and lighter, because this mixed with this mixed with this mixed with this, ends up being like a really light gray. And then I'll use this into the highest point, just a pinch of it, to give it like, instead of it being just like straight white, it's got like a warmer texture.
Okay.
So like, it's the wrong color. It's hard to explain. It's not black. Like it doesn't even end up looking, you'll see.
Okay, so it just gets like a warm gray.
Yeah, and then I'll literally take ivory or white at the peak. I'll go really light gray at the very peaks because you can see it on Cap. Like at the top of his helmet, it's not black at all. It's got that gray. Same with his legs here. So the under of everything is still going to be black, and these will get thinner and thinner and thinner, so that you can still see through to that color.
Yeah, theory makes sense.
Silver Shadow saying Wildwood is really good for wood items.
Wildwood, here it is. I'm gonna start.
And I don't know, I would put like some in your little thing and see how thick you think it is.
What's up, Chris? Okay, let's take a look. So wood is kind of like a forgiving first step, right? It's just wood. Looks like wood. You need it to look like something that looks like wood.
Yeah, well, it'll naturally, so that's the beauty of the priming. So what's going to happen is that's going to give you the brown base coat you normally get with the shadows from the ink, with the first color up of brown as well, because the highlights of the prime are going to come through.
And then do you switch to non-contrast to do the highlighting up?
Yeah. So I would do the entire model contrast, and then you're going to, that's where I said it's going to get you like 80% there. Because even if you just did one highlight, you're going to have done like 4 steps.
Yeah.
Because it does the first 3 for you.
All right. All right. Go thin. Apparently Wildwood can be really dark. So should I just add some technical contrast medium? Or should I add, is it like a white? Is this their white?
That's it's apothecary white.
Well, looks gray to me.
It is. Painting white is not actually painting white. It's the thing you learn.
And is there a preferred, do I dump this in the thing?
I would put it on your brush.
Ooh, I think I've got a fresh bottle here.
You do. I haven't used most of them.
Man, this is dark. Is this right?
Yeah.
Am I doing it?
No.
I mean, it's just like
What's happening?
1,000. Okay. So there's my little, I mean, is this enough, you think?
How much wood do you doing? 2 shields?
2 shields and some handles, some spear handles, axe handles, etc.
I'd probably go a little more. And you'll obviously get more distance because you're going to mix this in. So it'll give you a lot more.
You don't want to get that perfect color and then run out.
Dalton asking, is this parchment paper on here? I think that's what it's called. Technically, it's
Can you bake with it?
hydration paper.
Okay. Contrast painted. Done. Now, contrast medium.
Yeah, so I'd clean that off in here. You don't need to like proper clean. Just rinse off and on your paper towel. Yeah, isn't that crazy? I'm painting black, and like this mixture of colors is enough. I would never have been like, that's what I need to do.
Okay.
James saying it is essentially parchment paper, which is good. So Chris saying, I'm not sure why wood needs to be thinned. I've never needed to. Rather, I've just brushed it on lighter. I don't know what that means. Also, worth knowing, on your, I would probably use this bad boy when you're actually applying the paint.
Oh.
So
I'm going to thin this. Are we okay with that?
I would put a couple in, and then I would start with like your least important part, like your spear or something. That'll be easy to cover up.
It doesn't.
You can just like drop it off over here if you want.
There it goes.
Things to know. Like if you're painting the shield, it's not the same thing as using like thin layers of normal paint. What I mean by that is the way it works is once it starts kind of drying, you do not want to go back over it with your brush.
Okay.
Because you'll mess up everything happening there.
Okay.
It'll want to move around a lot. So you basically want to cover this with a decent amount of paint. It'll feel like you're putting too much paint on.
Okay.
Just past that point of
Unlearn
comfort.
what you have learned.
Yeah. And you just want to cover the whole thing.
Okay.
And then you'll just set it there and let it dry.
Douse it.
Yeah.
Douse. Okay, here we go. Douse time.
Chris Peach saying, Wildwood is one of the maybe 8 in the contrast line that may never need medium unless you genuinely want a thinner look like worn out wood.
And you said this brush, the big guy?
I would use a bigger, because you basically want a lot of paint in the brush.
That's so big, though.
Yeah, it's not about accuracy yet. That's what your touch-up highlight layer later is going to be. Wait.
This seems giant.
This one.
Are you holding the...
Yeah.
Okay.
That's
Does it need to be wet, or can I just...
No, you're going to go right in the paint.
Right in the paint.
Make it happen.
I'm going to start on the back side of the shield.
That's a smart play. Heads up. Heads up ball play.
Can't tell you how not brown this looks.
CT saying, a very unusual way to paint with contrast. I always paint straight out of the bottle on Zenithal primed miniatures. Yeah, some of them apparently are like way strong and some are like really weak. Yeah, on the dark side, it's not gonna feel like a lot. Like that thickness you just got right there is what you're looking for.
Okay. Go literally harden the paint.
Pretty heavy, yeah. All right.
And don't, like, basically just don't ever go over what you've already done?
Not until it dries. Because basically it's so movable that once it kind of starts drying, if you try to move it again, it's just going to really mess it up. So I basically have my colors here I'm using to paint black. And I'm putting some water in between each. And this is what I'm trying to do. Basically mix each layer. So it's black and dark gray.
Okay, a little shield.
It's too thick, so I need some more water. And then I take that dark gray and I mix it with my deck tan. You hear that color of paint in pretty much any video where someone's painting black.
Deck tan?
Deck tan. Very popular with the kids.
Is this what this is supposed to look like?
It's a little heavy. Hold on. Let me just see it. Ah.
Says don't go heavy, says go heavy.
So like, see how it's
Mm-hmm.
in the, like you can't see the lines anymore?
Yes.
It's barely too heavy.
So less heavy.
Yeah, and you see how I'm like moving it here? Like this is what it does. It moves a lot when you're moving it around. Now that might dry just fine. I do not know.
All right, we're in the
pioneer phase now.
Let's just mess with it.
So like you basically want it to be covered, but also like to still be able to make out the details of the model. If that makes any sense.
I'm just not sure I'm going any heavier than I would normally. Thin your paints.
Number one rule of painting, thin layers.
Yeah, but then you got contrast in here and it's like,
It's a whole different thing.
don't thin it. Put it on heavy. What?
Galactus, there was no glue in the bottle. So devastated. Hey, the thing that has the glue inside, a lot of time there's a lot of glue left over. So you can actually crack it open and it's a little container of glue in there. And you should have plenty of glue for whatever you needed.
You got one of those fancy hand things
What are you talking about?
for holding models?
Oh yeah, it's right there.
Cool.
The ergonomics of all this is really important.
Yeah. Definitely not shaking less as I get older.
Right? Chris Peach saying don't thin contrast but brush it on thin.
Everybody's got something.
Yeah.
I swear. You ask why, if you want to know why new painters get intimidated, because they get 7 different pieces of advice and it's all different.
Yeah. Well, art.
Yeah, art. Why can't it just be easy?
Yeah, someone asking me if I'm licking my brush, and the answer is yes. It makes it way faster. You can clean your brush and form it into like a sharp tip, which makes it easier to paint. And there's only so much lead in this paint, so we're good. Just kidding, there's no lead. See my beautiful black rainbow over here?
Wait a minute, that's not possible.
James says, isn't everything worth doing full of mixed advice? Galactus, I already hurled it into oblivion, deeming its value to be less than none. All right. It's go time.
It's a real shame because I actually care about these models.
What's a shame?
Well, it's just way more intense.
See, like this is actually drying pretty nice. Like you can. I was afraid you were gonna lose the detail. But that's one of the things about it is like it doesn't really dry on thick like that.
It's the paint with a surprise.
All right, let's go, Wolvie. So I'm going. I found this really cool. It's too thick. There's an X-Force Wolverine. He's like primarily black. He looks awesome. So that's what we're going for here.
What's the X-Force?
I don't know. That's what it was called. I think it was some
I remember it.
special squadron.
Vaguely from my my youth. Lo these many years ago.
Neighborhood's full of street youths. Schmidt from New Girl. In case you're curious.
It's a great show.
Sure is. His street youths bit is always one of my favorites.
I can't quote it yet. I don't know it that well, but
He's just so funny. Crispy's saying X-Force of Wolverine was the X-Men Death Squad.
like they killed people?
I guess so. Galactus saying another mutant team. Also, someone asked me earlier recommendations for someone new to painting. There's a blog on our website where I basically outline everything I recommend for someone that's new to this. And then in that blog is actually a stream we did where I was kind of showing Steven the rope on painting his Sky Terror minions. And it really is just the fundamentals of painting. So that's where I would look.
See the fundamentals of pain?
Yeah, painting. It's in the word.
Kind of the same thing.
Man, going back to regular paints though.
Good or bad?
It's good because this is what I've been doing for this year.
Good because it's
Familiar.
Yeah.
But I was genuinely impressed with some of those contrast paints yesterday. Its ability to help me get painted models that I probably would never get to otherwise is exciting. Why is Wolverine so cool? Do you ever forget how much you loved something as a kid and then something like this comes along?
Yes.
I remember just loving the X-Men.
Who is your number one?
X-Men?
Mm-hmm.
It was Cyclops.
Man or Woman? That's cool. I think Robert's a Cyclops too.
I think it was too. Apparently, a lot of
I
people
was not into Cyclops.
A lot of people don't like specifically don't like him.
Yeah.
from the 90s cartoon, and I don't know why. If you're one of those people, I would love to hear your case. And if you're Robert, I would love to know what you loved about Cyclops other than him being awesome.
It is pretty busted just having a beam like that.
Yeah. It's kind of a bummer, too, though.
Just killer beam.
Imagine if no one could ever look in your eyes again. Sad story, really.
Sweet relief. Okay, hold on.
That's the Stephen I signed up for.
Yeah. Faking it.
How you doing over there?
Just making some wooden stuff.
How'd that first shield, how's it looking? Can you give me a camera shot?
Really need better light. You want to turn on the overheads? Would that be better or worse?
Oh, you know what? Last time we streamed, you upped these by a lot.
We can turn them to like white light. We have to change the
remember that?
cameras. I can definitely crank up the.
I can also turn the overhead on.
Let's just see what that looks like.
The overhead?
See how.
You want me to reach it?
We're at 100% brightness on these, so it'll screw with our colors. We might look weird. What does that look? Do we look weird? Does that look weird?
Do I look weird with this light on?
It looks weirder.
I get it.
That does give a lot more presence, though, doesn't it?
Okay, well, a lot of comments, a lot of opinions here. I love this. Let's see.
Here, also, I can zoom us in when we need to. I just got a feel for it. Did that work?
Grrr.
Need better focus, probably.
Yeah, I think I just need to get them lower.
Is it better? Just a little bit.
Trifo saying, contrast paints helped me knock out like 40 droids for Legion. I can imagine that. Chris Beach saying, there's a great story of Beast leaving the X-Men when he found out about the Death Squad that Wolverine was leading. CJ said, I feel like so many people's favorite was Gambit because the card throwing was cool. B. Dakin says, Cyclops was literally the only character I didn't like in the cartoon. Ryan Roper, I just can't get it out of my head how if I paint my figures, I'll never get them to look as good as even the mediocre ones I see on stream. Although from 3 feet away, it's probably hard to see mistakes. That's right. Galactus has great power, and he's ultimately a faith-based fighter. He's totally devoted to Xavier's dream. He's a loyal guy. Atlas Film saying Cyclops from the 90s show seemed like a narc.
I mean, yeah, he was kind of the square of the team, but that's pretty cool. It's hip to be square sometimes.
CJ says, I can't fully remember, but wasn't he kind of the emo heartthrob in the comics, making him whiny despite being handsome? Chris Beach saying Cyclops is the greatest X-Men. If he is so unpopular, I am marveled by a solo comic blowing people like Wolverine and Gambit out of the water. Well, apparently comic Cyclops is like extremely popular, but people that got introduced to Cyclops through the cartoon are less interested. What up, Nico? Good to see your name back. It's I've been assembling these X-Men lately, obviously, because that's the thing that's required. And I have a bunch of Crisis Protocol models now primed, like Daredevil and Kingpin and all those.
Primed and ready.
But I haven't actually painted in a while. And it's really nice to get back to it.
Yeah. I wonder, maybe I should did you see any mold lines and stuff that I need to be dealing with before I paint?
We're past that.
Is that before priming? I guess that would make sense.
You normally do it before priming, and then if it's really bad, you make the call after you prime to reprime after you clean them up.
Gross.
But I saw a couple little lines, but nothing that was like after obviously
Didn't take you out of the experience.
You can see it a lot better after you primed it.
Yeah.
But nothing that if it were me, that I would be redoing.
Okay.
For.
Good.
It's crazy how much time I spent this year on Cap and Thor, making the mistakes that are going to make this way easier. Like right now, I'm doing what I'm doing extremely confidently, which you only get by running those hard yards.
Yeah, can do a lot of failing.
Were you surprised that I like Cyclops?
Yeah.
He's kind of the Captain America of the team.
I would have thought you'd have been into more like Gambit or...
I do like Gambit.
Well, probably just Gambit.
Just Gambit.
I myself was very partial to Jubilee.
She's a explosive time.
I'm just kidding. I actually think it's just a very strange superhero.
Yeah, fireworks.
Essentially fireworks, yeah. It's like, well, I can do that.
I also really liked Wolverine.
Yeah.
He's actually probably... There's different elements of characters I like, but he's definitely someone I would assume I would like based on my tendencies in gaming.
I was, as you might imagine, a big Archangel fan.
Yeah. Do you like Sabretooth?
Yeah, Sabretooth is cool. I mean, I still was rooting for the X-Men. I'm not a sociopath.
I did like Magneto, though.
Yeah, he's great. Great villain.
Yeah. Look at the guns on this guy.
Oh, nice of you to say that.
Look at those arms, though. This is thick.
Yeah, he's a big guy.
Atlas saying, what X-Man do you want most in Marvel Champions? I mean, I think it's Cyclops for me, but I'll take them all. Is Namor an X-Man technically?
Oh, no, I don't think so.
I thought he was part of that grouping.
I never saw him on the X-Men stuff. I like Banshee a lot, too. I think he was associated there for a while. The Banshee. Oi, Myra. Yeah! Speaking of Myra, have you seen... Oh, yeah.
I don't think I should say the name.
Schitt's Creek?
You did it.
It's got a CH in there. That makes it okay.
Yeah. Remember earlier in the year when I randomly just accidentally straight up cussed?
Yeah. Almost left. This is not the person I've come to know.
Not what I thought he was. I'm done.
Done.
How are you feeling at this point?
You think Tridents... Nah, yeah. See, they'd make them out of wood because...
Ocean stuff.
Ocean stuff. Probably out of an old boat.
How else did we get the weapon? You see?
That's right. Drink Bailey's out of an old boat.
Sounds like a good time. If you had to pick an X-Man?
Some disconcerting shifting. It's as if they're not glued fully.
Oh, no. Well, you can always glue it back together. That's not a problem. A lot of people paint the parts unassembled.
Yeah, you know.
I understand why, because like the odds of you painting accidentally onto something go way down.
Yeah, they plummet, right?
Yeah, and then the reality of like being able to get into like difficult to get places sometimes is like super easy.
So what are the cons?
Oh, I also like Nightcrawler. So you end up painting a lot of areas that you can't see anyway, and it's hard like to get if you have like a joint and you need to paint like the same color across it. It can be a lot harder to map that out.
Yeah, to match it up. That makes sense.
I like your thinking, though. That's very classic. Like, okay, what are the downsides? Most people never even ask that question.
Okay, so...
Aiden asking, how long do we think it'll take for X-Men to show up in Champions? I'm going to guess...
Year and a half.
That's a good guess. I would say like the soonest I would expect it would be what would have been next Gen Con. Like in my mind, I think if you're planning it out, which who knows if they did, but if you are planning it out, I feel like having the upfront run be the Avengers with the campaign boxes and stuff that are going on, and then that would be like my big rekindling of momentum moment, which is like, hey, if you either got bored playing this and or weren't ever interested enough to play this, this is for you.
Yeah, now's the time.
Because a lot of games about, especially LCGs, about 2 years in, is when you start seeing players drop out because they've kind of had the experience. So if I were a gambling man, I would say about 2 years after the original launch, so next gen con-ish.
All right, I think all the wood is done.
So part of it is you gotta really kind of let it dry. How's that initial shield going?
Don't like waiting. Pretty good.
Yeah, not bad at all. So things to consider on anything. I would basically try to get a base coat down of across the whole model.
Flesh. I mean, that's really the next difficulty.
Kill flesh.
Man, there's just so many details on these. If you were a good painter, you could do a lot. If okay, how are we gonna work some things in here? How are we doing flesh? What do we do flesh? How do we do flesh these days?
Well, there's some flesh shades in those contrast stacks. I also have regular paints. So there's a flesh shade. So you would paint like a
Reichland?
like have this where's that? Heavy skin tone here, which is pretty good if you want like flat paints.
I'll keep riding the lightning on the contrast. Do
Yeah.
a full test.
Now, one of the things with the contrast that I've seen people do is like they'll lighten up that a little bit.
That makes sense.
And then again, add like a warm, like a red, just a touch of red.
Is it too weird if all of your team has the same flesh color?
No, they just came over on the same boat.
Yeah, they're hanging out together, right?
I mean, I don't think it matters. But that it could be pretty cool to have some lighter and some darker skin.
Just trying to think of the origin stories of each of these models.
That's right.
I mean, they've all been schlepping in the arena for like 20 years, right? So,
yeah.
In my world, at least.
I mean, my intent when I'm doing my arena racks is like, I'm going to go darker, assuming they're going to be out in the sun a lot.
Yeah.
I'm sure there's some really amazing paint jobs of arena racks models that are like sunburnt.
Oh, of course. Maybe that would be cool. Right on the top parts.
Yeah.
So, flesh shade plus, do you lighten it just with the thinner, or do you lighten it with the actual white?
I'd probably lighten it with either white or there's like if there's a lighter brown or a gray back there. Is chat helping you out at all?
Chat's helping me in no way whatsoever.
Okay, 1 second. I'll help you.
No, that's fine. Just throw white in it, right? Isn't that how you lighten things? I've been around the block a few times. Some would say that white is what you add to lighten things. Contrast paint on contrast paint, though, is a road untrod.
Yeah, so white's good.
Seraphim sepia.
There's also like this
I don't associate brown with angels. Do you? Yeah, we have multiple. Got the seraphim. This seems like it has a nice reddish look to it anyway.
The flesh shade?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so that's typically what you put over regular paint. That's an
like
ink.
a wash.
Those are washes back there.
Oh, right on.
Yeah.
They look the same. Well, that wasn't very smart, Citadel.
Which you can put washes on top as well, like even on your shields if you look at them. I think a brown wash on top of the shield to really make those dark lines darken is going to be really good.
Yeah.
And then I think taking a light brown and doing not quite a dry brush, but just trying to hit the top edges of the shield would also look really good.
Yeah. Okay, so what's the lightest contrast paint? Agaros Dunes?
I think that's the lightest brown that's over there. Obviously, the Apothecary White is pretty light as well.
Looks darker and brighter colors. So it sounds like somebody was saying to do thinner as the lightning process.
You know what?
What?
That makes sense. So if it's really thin, it's kind of like washing it, but it's gonna be a little more powerful than a wash. So you'll still get the color, but a lot more of the prime will show through. And the prime is white.
Yeah, there you go. Okay, so thin it out. When in doubt, thin it out.
When in doubt, thin it out.
I'm not sure about this big
Wolverine's
brush
arms are
energy.
just hanging out, right? Those aren't even part of the costume. I think that's correct. Yeah, I was watching a video.
Can you eat contrast paints as well?
Yeah, they just taste worse.
Ugh.
You'll see.
I don't like the idea of paints tasting. I never really tasted the other ones.
That one just has a distinct flavor.
Just like contrast.
Something like that. These paints that I'm using don't really have a taste, which is correct.
Okay, little buddy. Now we're done with wood, right? We can abandon this paint pot. Is that how that works?
I mean, I would leave that there.
I mean, yeah, we'll do that.
When I was painting yesterday, that was crazy. That was yesterday. My pots that had colors in it stayed for a long time, which was nice because I eventually need to go back to a color once or twice.
Back to my world, back to my girl, back to my family and friends. Okay. How much does a pot of this paint cost? Paint pot.
I think it's like $6.
Okay.
But like all these paints over here are $4 or $5, and I have yet to run out of any color.
Do it once.
The colors I'm using now, and the whites and the blacks, I'm gonna run out of because I use those all the time. But it's really not that bad.
I really should just have a thinning brush.
What do you mean by that?
Like, I'm just gonna have a brush that dips into the thinner and thins whatever paints I have.
Yeah, that's smart. Very efficient. Very heads up ball play there.
Thank you. My head is so constantly up, Zach. Up, Zach is like not together. Up, comma, Zach, exclamation point.
Commas are important.
Yeah, anybody still on about this Oxford comma, it's just wrong.
What are they on about?
Using it, or rather not using it. You got to use it.
When do you use it normally?
Anytime, particularly sets of 3 things, people, that's when the Oxford comma comes into the moment.
Oh yeah, like after the second thing?
Mm-hmm.
I always do an Oxford comma.
I like boots, comma, hats, comma, and socks.
Yeah. I didn't know it till just now, but I'm an Oxford comma kind of guy.
I'm disappointed that it's even a question.
Samuel, off topic, but have you guys tried the Lord of the Rings LCG? I'm thinking about getting it for me and my wife to try since she's a big Lord of the Rings fan, but wanted to know how it compares to Arkham Horror. Yes, that's actually the first living card game we ever played. I got a demo of that back in, I think, 2011 Gen Con. That's what got us interested in LCGs in the first place. It was the first cooperative card game I'd ever played. I was fascinated by it. I love Lord of the Rings. The art's fantastic. I think the game is really good. I think Arkham Horror is a better game, just generally. They learned a lot, and they applied a lot of those lessons, I think, to Arkham. But if you love the theme, I think it's definitely a worthy addition to the collection, especially if you have someone who is really interested because of that theme that you can play with. But I had a lot of good times playing that game. Haven't played it in a long time, but I used to play a good amount.
All right, let's get thoughts on this leg.
Okay.
This here?
This here?
This here leg.
This here bigs me.
Doesn't it look sickly? Is it going to look less sickly?
It does look sickly,
Awesome.
but you're not done yet.
You're not done yet.
I would let that dry before you apply this anywhere else.
Just take a look.
It's got a, what color are you using here?
Whatever that lightest one was.
Agaro's Dune?
I think it's Dunes, yeah. Which makes sense. Skin doesn't look like Dunes.
Yeah, it's got a yellow to it, right?
Yeah.
So I would probably, like that might be a really nice undertone. Like if you put another brown on top of it, it's going to have like, because some people are yellowish on their skin
Do you
tone.
layer contrast paints?
You definitely can, yeah.
Yeah.
So like
Yeah, Tom, it was clean. Clean as a whistle.
this brick,
Mhm.
I did brown first, and then I did a red on top. So it wouldn't just be like bright red. You can see the brown on the base a little bit.
Yeah, yeah.
But I would let that dry and just see it because I haven't seen any of these dry.
Okay. All right. All right. Wait.
Another thing too, are you doing metal on the metal?
Mm-hmm.
Let me get those for you.
We'll do some kind of metal. Whatever. I think the easiest solution is it's the solution for me. Also steel, for the weapons. I'm sure there's really cool ways to like do steel, yeah?
There's silver in case you need it. I have gold somewhere.
Silver and gold. Yeah, using them
Oh,
as
it's
little.
over here. So there's gold. Now the main thing with silver and gold is like, if you're just gonna go, I wish I brought my Septimus because I did his helmet in gold, and I basically did this, and then I did one of the inks. I think I used maybe the Seraphim. It's got the yellow to it, or no, I just used the black Null Oil, and it gives it like a darker gold vibe,
Nice,
but it's
yeah.
still shiny without being like in your face shiny.
I like that.
So
What do you do for like blades for color, like steel?
you want to be like metallic-y?
Yeah, like chopping.
Yeah, so I would either do silver with Null Oil after it dries.
That's a classic.
Yeah.
Right?
That's just the basic.
Absolute
Yeah.
classic.
The other thing you can do is paint it black and then basically highlight it to make it look metally, right? That's what I did here. I painted it black.
And then metal. Metal everywhere.
Can I get you boys in a drink? I wouldn't.
It's a
take
Tuesday.
it.
I'll take it. Yeah. Yeah, rock on, man.
So basically I had gray on the edges and like it's coming out from there. But again, I wanted that to be dark as it was. So the easy one is silver plus the Null Oil.
Silver plus. Yeah,
Yeah,
I'll stay in that lane for now. I got a lot of models I'd like to just get on the table.
It's definitely a lot faster. So like if you wanted to apply all the silver and golds, then you could do Null Oil on all of those. It's pretty nice.
Silver and golds, yeah.
How's this Dune looking? I just want to see it.
Looks about the same as the shield, to be honest with you.
That shield looks great though.
To my untrained eye, yeah, it does.
Like that would have been several thin layers of brown you would have had to do to get that effect, in my opinion.
I believe it.
You might also try on the skin tone, like a thin coating of like a darker brown. If you don't want the yellowy brown.
Mm-hmm. What's the traditional flesh tone thing if you didn't have contrast paints?
I would use a skin tone paint, and then I would use a flesh shade, and then I would probably mix a little bit of ivory with this, and I would do wherever I think the light's hitting, and it would be really thin.
That seems more controllable than what I'm working on here.
I think contrast paints are, to me, like super hit or miss. Like I either want to be able to basically just put it on and call it a day, or I want to go to the normal route.
All right.
And I also have, I think I have a couple other options for you.
So if I've got leather wrappings like that.
There's the one that he was saying was great for just straight up leather.
Is it called Snake by Leather?
Yeah. He's just basically saying you just roll with that and you're off to the races.
I'm going to do that, and then I'll come in with the steels.
I actually, Not that you need it, but I have this metal medium, which is just like clear metal. which is just like clear metal. You can add any color to it. So you can create metal of whatever color you'd like.
Okay, leather on. They got stuff like wrapped things.
All right. That's pretty good. So like, see, I have this Wolverine that I did. It was black with a dark gray. And now I'm going to upgrade to the dark gray with this, with the deck tan.
Mm-hmm.
And now I'm going to start painting higher and higher and higher.
See, what you're doing makes way more sense to me.
It's very logical.
I mean, the contrast paints are just kind of, it's like, you know, throwing a dart in the bar, right? It's like I'm probably not going to hit a bullseye, but I'm probably going to hit something on the board.
This is a really good example to me that I'm happy with in contrast, which is I just applied the blue.
Because you really had one thing to paint, which was beast skin.
Yeah, and I literally
Everything else was...
I primed it Zenithal and I put blue on twice. I did 2 layers, and the fact that that's what came out, and like you can see like there's shadows down here, and then it's white here where the primer was. That's really amazing to me.
Yeah.
Same here, like
it really
the light here on her leg that I didn't have to paint that is crazy.
It's striking me that these Arena Rex models almost have too much detail. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and I think it's a tool, so there's gonna be some things that might make a lot of sense to do contrast
like leather
on.
pants and leather straps and stuff probably makes some sense.
Absolutely. But then like I'm looking at like his fur.
Yeah.
And it's like if you find the right color, that could actually be super awesome.
The contrast color?
In the contrast. Yeah. Especially some of the stronger colors, like if you wanted a red fur or a blue fur. Same thing with this thing, right? Or white, like applying the white to that is going to be way easier than actually painting it white because there's so much texture there.
Yeah.
But that's where like, I think once I learn what to do with each of these contrast colors, they're helpful in certain circumstances, but they're not universally applicable.
Okay. So, leather. Time for leather. There's a time for leather.
Yes, indeed. Also, I'm going to get a little fancy here. So, there's this concept called wet blending.
I can't imagine that's got to be what you're doing, right?
Yeah.
It's wet and you're blending.
So, you basically take the colors that are next to each other and you put enough on so it stays wet, but then you can basically mix it on the model so that the transition between the two is really smooth.
Again, that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
The things that you're saying making a lot of sense.
I try.
Where am I going to work in some colors, though, on these guys? That's the question. No, on the necklace.
Your metal is also going to help, like your gold and silvers.
Yeah, yeah. I'm just thinking if I did want to get some kind of like a blue moment on all of these.
Yeah, where are you going to put it?
Where are you going to put it?
What you going to do?
Perhaps nowhere. They got wraps everywhere. What should we do with these wraps?
I mean, you could make those blue.
Ugh.
Or you could make... It just depends.
So I'm looking at straps. Like, you know, are these wraps really, are they supposed to be white?
I'd probably make them white.
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
Like mummy stuff.
Mm-hmm. That's a really good example.
What's going on with Sven's pants here? What are you? Is he wrapping his knees up? You see that? Is he about to play in a football game or something? What's going on here? Tell me.
Yeah,
the logic.
it looks like he's got just wrap around his pants.
And then what is this? Just a little, you know?
It looks like a metal something.
Hair tie?
Hilarious.
My Sven's gonna turn out a lot different.
I mean, you want me to pull up the Arena Rex model?
Oh, right. We could do that.
That'll make your life a lot easier.
Yeah, sure.
What's his name, Sven?
Sven.
Svenn.
Yeah, that'll work. That'll get you there.
SVEN, yeah. Silver Shadow saying contrast Gorgrunna fur is a pretty good brown fur color.
Okay. I think I'm gonna do all my fur white. They have all of this stuff like kind of normal.
So he's got like green pants and then the white cloth, and then that thing is like bone colored going across the.
This little hair tie.
Yeah.
White cloth and bone.
Let me go to the store.
So you can kind of just.
What's your faction?
The crows. Zephyri. Zephyri.
Oh, he's not a part of your faction.
He is too. The original. The OG.
Oh, he's in the starter.
Yeah, he's in the starter. Okay. All right. All right.
Oh, dude.
Contrast white jacket.
Look at her.
Oh, yeah. Looks great. Let's do that.
Yeah, so she's got white fur. It's like a white wolf,
Mm-hmm.
which is cool. This white is great for that,
Good.
in my opinion.
We're going to really get into that one. White.
So what I'm doing right now is basically taking this next color up and starting from the peak of what should be being hit by the light and working my way towards the dark. And this area, this kind of band of what I'm coloring, will get thinner and thinner the brighter I go on the color to kind of form where the light would be reflecting off of everything is happening, like his shoulder pad. But it's not white, it's like a lighter gray and a lighter gray, etc. I love when you were like, everything you're saying makes
I mean, yeah, that definitely
tracks.
Yeah,
once I understood what I was doing with it, it was just logical for the first time, and I was like, I get it. It actually all clicked with the Thor cape. Long way to go in the technique, but like I at least understood the conversation for the first time.
What is she up to? So she's got a boot and a sandal? How do you...
Well, she's just ready no matter what the party looks like.
kind of a... How do you paint that?
Hold on.
Do you guys have like micro brushes? You do. I know you do. I've seen them.
You should have a pretty thin one. I have a thin one over here too.
Not as thin as a sandal strap. All right, I'm just going to start, torps in the water here.
I believe in you.
You can't hit anything if you don't put your torps in the water. I'm going with what seems to be the preferred method, which is just go pot to model.
On the contrast?
Mm-hmm. Thinning is for suckers. The point of contrast paint seems to be that you're trying to prevent yourself from being a sucker. You're trying to get things done quickly. You got a family,
You got things to do.
Got things to do.
You're
I'm
a
looking
man
to play
about
Arena
town.
Rex. I'm not looking to sit here and chat all day. Okay.
So like now I'm literally just trying to I'm still on that second color, but I'm not painting in the deepest parts of the shadow where his muscles are just gigantic. They really captured the thick. Wolverine can definitely qualify for the Beefy Boys squad.
Thank goodness. I was a little concerned. Okay. Leather.
Oh, I forgot. I don't have chat up yet.
Just unreal precision. It's really impressive that people can do this.
Sam was saying I used the contrast white for white wolf fur on my space wolves. They turned out well. Nice. CJ saying there's a fantastic video where Ninjon uses the contrast medium to make his own contrast paints rather than using it as a thinner. That's awesome. He just basically applied it to regular paint. said, let's go.
I think I'm ready for that.
Yeah. The crazy thing is, like, the more I understand about what is supposed to be happening, the more amazing watching the videos of people that are good at it. Like, I at least finally understand what they're saying most of the time. There's a while where, like, Tim would send me a video. He's like, look at this. It's like, dude, I have no idea what's happening here. I just know he's painting way better than anyone I know.
You got over that Dunning-Kruger there, where you're too ignorant to know how ignorant you are.
Yeah. Now I know.
Now you're not ignorant.
And it hurts.
So now you know what you're missing. Zach, what you're missing.
Well, the upside is I also recognize that there's no chance I'm going to get there. It's kind of like watching Michael Jordan play basketball or something. It's like, I can understand why what you're doing is so impressive.
You just need a little work on your vertical.
Yeah. Uh-huh. Part of the nice thing about something like basketball, though, is like I'm physically restrained. With painting, it's like there's art to it, but also like it's really just a time commitment.
Yeah. You just got to want to get better, and you got to practice a lot.
If I wanted to paint 30 hours a week, I could probably be pretty decent. But, like, that's crazy. What up, Robert? Robert Ballard.
Mr. Ballard.
Nice, James. I'm happy to hear you're assembling this.
What's the consensus on chainmail?
So I would choose silver gold, paint it, put the wash on it, and it's gonna sink right into those slots and make it look good.
And it's gonna look the same as my my steel. Well, I guess it is made of steel.
There you go.
It's links of steel.
It's just got the shadows in between, right?
Yeah. Cool.
I was singing that last night.
Do you ever get nervous when somebody offers to make a drink and then you haven't seen them in like 20 minutes and you're like, what are they doing?
Could be poison.
Could be poison.
Robert saying those are coming along beautifully. Good job. Appreciate that.
Wolverine's one of those that you care about, right?
It is. It's not again, Cyclops being my favorite. Wolverine's close. Wolverine and Magneto are at a similar level for me of care. But I'm doing Cyclops last.
Yeah, that's a classic. An absolute classic in terms of theory.
What did you just do?
I did some leather.
Nice. How you feeling about the leather coloring?
Oh, it looks good. That across the chest strap.
Yeah, it looks great. It's got, again, nice texture. That prime's really coming through. It's crazy. I wish I had had that a long time ago. That's where I think there's certain things that it makes a lot easier. And it's just starting to learn when to use the tool.
Okay, do I do a leather belt? Yeah, right? Yeah. I mean, this is the old world. Everything was leather. What else are you going to make it out of?
It's not cotton.
Dyed leather?
Can you dye leather? Is that a thing?
Yeah, probably.
Robert saying the Crisis Protocol killing it on the model quality. Those X-Men are fire.
That's true.
Galactus saying it's his first time on the making the drinks.
Yeah, let's go. Rafe, what do we got? Man of War.
Rafe, thank you very much, everyone. This is
Thank
Rafe.
you. Looks great.
Previously worked. You can put it right here.
Retail
Nowhere near my computer.
specialist.
Thank you so much.
Beautiful human being.
It's a real boozy drink.
It's very cold glass as well. I'm happy about that.
Usually, I didn't have one of it ingredients, so I ad-libbed it.
All right, I like
It's
that.
boozy.
Boozy is a word.
Smells like absinthe.
Woo! Do you know what's in a Man of War?
No.
What's in it?
It's bourbon.
Bourbon.
I didn't have straight orange liqueur, so I used Grand Marnier.
Okay.
Yeah, that's
Sweet
right.
vermouth.
And what?
And sweet vermouth and lemon.
Sweet
Oh,
lemon.
that's good.
It's tasty.
Yeah, it's usually a little more citrusy, but heck.
Thanks, Rafe.
Thanks, dude.
Yeah, we're obviously pandemic is a thing, but we're working on what we're calling 3.0 of our store, which will involve crossing the fingers. It'll involve cocktails, which I'm excited about. Something we've all been pretty passionate about for a few years. It's a nice transition. We have evolved from interest in beer,
Yeah, that happens a lot, I think.
spirits, and cocktails. It's just more crafty.
Yeah, you can control it. All you got to do with a beer is you got to crack it open.
It's not a bad thing. But yeah, that's more about just finding things you like, discovery, than creating things you like. Da-na-na-na. Man.
Okay. These are I'm more aware of these contrast paints than I have been in the past.
Yeah, you just got to kind of start using them to understand. They're different. Like I said, I think there's going to be moments where they're like super useful. And I think you could. I've seen people do it where like they paint a whole model using only contrast
Yeah.
and like it's super quick and like it's not necessarily like the best they could do, but anything's better than a plain gray model. Yeah, it is boozy, right?
Hello. That'll keep me from shaking so much.
Relax right into the
I
weekend.
need to level this thing out.
Mm-hmm.
At every turn, I wish I was more accurate.
At painting
Yes.
specifically?
Yes.
I couldn't tell if we were going somewhere wider with that one or not.
Nope. I mean, I would take more accuracy in all
Anything?
things. Particularly that bow game at Roberts.
Bow?
Bow. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, the AR
Mm-hmm.
or VR.
Oh, yeah, that's right. VR. Huh. See, now I've got a necklace coming down, but I'm not gonna. No, you don't want. Okay, so here's what I know about art.
So you're recommending your breathing.
Oh yeah.
Robert asking if we got a cherry in the drink. We did not. Although if it's those fancy cherries, I want one. Those fancy cherries are one of the greatest things on earth.
Good luck proving it.
Like it's probably top 10 things I like to eat.
Yeah, we got lemon garnish in there.
He was asking if we had a cherry.
Yeah, but you gotta hit that chat up. Stephen T saying, just popping in and wish you guys a happy Thanksgiving.
Thanks, man.
Gonna be ordering a bunch of tokens and boards on Monday. We'll be like Shrek 2, fire up the ovens, Team Covenant. We've got a big order to fill. That's phenomenal.
We
Can't wait,
appreciate
Stephen.
that,
Thank
man.
you. We look forward to it. Absolutely look forward to it. Okay. Hey, these contrast paints on the leather are fantastic.
I'm glad you found one that you like.
I mean, look at, you can tell when that's gonna.
Yeah,
that's gonna
absolutely. It
dry
looks
out.
great as it is, right?
Beautiful.
Isn't that amazing?
Mm-hmm.
It's crazy. One thing I've learned about painting black and white, by the way, is you just take your time.
Now, so who out there in the chat? Now we're gonna have a lot of opinions about this, but after contrast paints, you still go back and highlight, right?
You don't have to, but you can't. Like if
Like, look at these boots. If
boots?
I don't do anything to these boots, they're gonna look foolish. Those boots need to have lighter pops of color. They need to.
Yep. So, I mean,
I need to lighten them.
I think part of that was the priming. Probably didn't get as bright on the feet. And then the thickness that you put it on was maybe a little, like if you'd gone a little lighter, more that would show through. So if you had both of those happening, you might not need to touch it.
So I'm beginning to think that this apply contrast paints heavily thing is untrue. I think you should apply them thinly like normal, yeah?
You can try it.
Just maybe not multiple layers?
You could do, so you can do multiple layers. That's what I did with the blue even. It's such a big area of blue on
Just
bees.
gotta let it dry.
You just let it dry and then you do it again.
And it naturally would darken things, yeah?
Yeah, because it just keeps, it's like a semi-translucent layer in like Photoshop. If you have a bunch of them stacked onto each other, it's going to keep adding.
Okay. I like what Garoka says here. Contrast is considered base coat plus wash.
Yeah.
So then anything you do after that, you can do it. Yeah, I like that.
Highlight.
I like that puppy. Okay, we're all done here. You're done.
Not done yet.
You're done. Now the brown of the shield and the brown of the leather looks pretty much the same. Call GW about that. And next up,
Dial them up, man.
dial 'em up. We've got a
like that.
loincloth.
It's like the Jimmy Dean sausage call.
Yeah, right.
How am I supposed to feed
How am I supposed to have
3
six
grown
pots of
men?
paint?
They are small men.
6 pots of paint.
If you haven't
They're all
heard
the
that
same.
Jimmy Dean call, you should.
It's great.
Next level.
Okay, no leather needed here. Right here. No leather needed here, right? She's got no leather. She's got the dress. The straps. Oh, the freaking sandal straps. You gotta be kidding me.
She got you.
I'm not doing that yet. It's out of my pay grade.
Don't have to do anything.
No leather on the tiger, obviously. Not primed.
Just hanging. He's here for moral support.
Oh my gosh, there's so many details on this model. It'll make you sick.
They are very detailed.
I just don't want anything to do with this.
You can throw it away.
Okay, next up. White fur? That'd be a morale booster, right?
Well, literally 2 things that are intimidating to most people is white and fur.
Well, I'm just gonna throw the contrast over top and
Hope it looks good.
hope it looks good.
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of where we're at.
So everybody paints, right?
Garoka, I agree. Saying the MCP models just keep getting better. They really do. Yeah, the Jimmy Dean thing is like, they switched it from, I think, 20 ounces to 16 ounces or something in the package.
I think it's 16 to 12. Used to be a full pound.
That's right.
600 pounds I'm in.
And it's,
Plum Scotch
I
Gold.
don't want to buy 24 ounces of Jimmy Dean sausage. That's too much.
I mean, it makes sense, right? If 16 is the right size to feed your family, you would have to buy 2 12s and go to 24, which is wasteful. I mean, you don't want to eat more sausage than you have to. Or you just go to a 12 and eat less. And he's a Texas man, and that's just unacceptable. It says it right there in the
message.
right there in the message.
Yeah.
And I can dog on Texas because as an Oklahoman, it is my noble right.
Yeah, and I can dog on Texas because my mom's from Texas.
There you go.
I'm basically from Texas.
Aaron Clark, I'm just so worried about messing up my Skychair models. You know what, Aaron? These Arena Rex models, so much more on the line. These Arena Rex models, but just YOLO it.
So the other thing is, there's
But you can get him to paint. Yeah, asking the question, can somebody paint him? You can find that online.
for sure.
Usually, it's quite good. I've had a lot of success with that in the past.
Also worth pointing out,
When I wasn't as YOLO ready.
there's stuff called Simple Green. I bought a gallon of it on Amazon, but you drop a model in there for a day and then get a toothbrush. Everything you did to it comes right off. And if it doesn't, you drop it in for another day and you do it again. It's just like a cleaning material. So definitely don't be afraid to mess up. The upside of Skytear is you get a ton of those minions. That's a fantastic place to start learning how to paint miniatures. because you can make mistakes and just not deal with that minion and paint a different one.
Hilarious comment here from Claire. Wow, dudes, painting minis is definitely a game for the young. I can barely chop vegetables coarsely without needing to resort to my reading glasses. Well, just remember, 1 finger in front, 2 behind. Make sure you don't chop your finger off.
That is definitely not the goal.
I can definitely chop vegetables better than I can paint.
I believe you. You do a lot of vegetable chopping.
Yes, I do. Now that's something we could talk about. You want to talk about culinary
I'm
things?
telling you, man, what's on the table?
All right.
Into a TV near you.
So I'm just going to go on this fur, okay?
Yep.
I'm not scared. This one's for Aaron.
Show us how to be brave.
In fact, I'll give you guys the bird's eye view here. I just got to stop this line.
Aaron Clark says thanks.
See this? This is a guy that has nothing left to lose.
Right on.
Oh, it's weird. It's gross. It's like rat fur. I know that.
Why is that?
Dylan used to have rats.
Your old housemate?
In the accursed house. Yes.
I'm glad that it's upgraded to accursed.
Yeah, some of the best times.
It's like going to war.
Yeah.
This is when it always gets scary. When you go up one layer of contrast. This light gray on the... You're like, I'm painting black. It's not supposed to be gray or white. Just gotta trust yourself.
Yeah. I think like when you're in like a Warhammer group or like a dedicated minis group, is there the guy that's just great at painting, and then like everybody else? Is that usually how it goes? It's always the one guy.
There's usually
Gal.
I feel like there's a couple of... I mean, I haven't ever been in like a intense
Is James the guy?
miniatures group. There's usually people that are really, really good at painting. And then there's also people that are really fast. And then there's also people that are pretty fast but also good. And that's who usually most people are jealous of, because they'll show up with a totally painted force. The people that are really good at painting will have like 2 models painted, and then everyone else will just be like doing their best.
I have no idea what that's like.
Historically in that category.
Your best is getting better though.
I'm working on it. But it's constantly balancing that against the time it takes.
Yes, the time. It's always the accursed time. If it weren't for the time, I'd be good at a lot of things, man.
Yeah. One of my favorite Warren Buffett pieces of advice he gave someone was write down the top 25 things you want to do in your life.
And then burn it?
No. Then pick your top 5 and forget about the rest.
Okay.
Painting miniatures is probably on the top 20 for me. I mostly do it therapeutically.
Yeah, I'm at the point where I cannot imagine anybody doing this as a relaxation moment. I can imagine it. I take that back.
It's like you got to get to the point where you're like, I don't even know how to describe it.
Good enough to not be nervous.
It's almost like when you run.
Yeah.
You know how for me at least, it was always like 5 to 8 minutes in.
The euphoria.
You kind of, your body breaks.
That's
and
right.
Then you're just a machine.
Yeah.
That's how painting feels at a certain point to me. Like once you're a certain level of comfortable. Look at this Wolverine back.
Guess who's back? Hold on, I'm in a crisis moment here. Gotta unhide my eyes,
That's looking good.
my wolf eyes.
Dude, that's looking great.
Yeah, well,
2 thumbs way up. They're sky high right now.
I mean, it looks pretty much like it did when it was primed. But we'll see what happens when it dries.
I feel like there's more subtlety going on.
Ah, nice.
The subtlety between the color ranges.
Subtlety between a man and a woman in love.
Oftentimes not subtle at all. Actually.
Mm-hmm.
Well, actually, because
Actually,
my old friend Robert, different Robert. Oh, yes. See, like, I'm actually having a really good time right now. This is
weird.
the most fun I've had painting black by a mile.
why is everything so difficult with this model? This model is crazy.
I remember James, who I consider one of the best painters I know, looking at those models and being like, because he played the game, it's like, this is great, super streamlined, fantastic game. Anybody could pick this up. And then he was looking at the models and he's just like, not everybody's gonna pick this up. That part of it.
Well, if old Steven can get into it, right?
Yeah. I think one of the troubles is like, inevitably when you get into a miniatures game, you have a very lofty ambition of what it's going to look like when you're done painting.
Mm-hmm.
And to get to the point where you can actually paint like your brain wants it to look, you have to paint a lot of stuff that doesn't look like that. And a lot of times the things you're painting are things you care about, because that's why you got involved, right?
Yeah.
You saw the cool Witch King model or the X-Men or whatever. And so it's just kind of understanding what it's going to look like until you can do it better.
My the way I want this model to look is done.
Yeah.
That's my number one. Man, I can't tell you. 3 times I've thought about drinking that paint water on accident.
That's my goal of the Paintathon 2020.
Claire, I never tried the portobello recipe. Haven't gotten a chance yet. I will though.
You've been a little busy.
Yeah, I've been busy. Pre-built minis or ones you can assemble from Sugi?
I mean, I prefer pre-built. Assembly is like my least favorite part of tabletop. Of anything I've ever done in tabletop, assembly is probably my least favorite. But models these days, even the assembly kind, are getting a lot. At least I'll say that for Crisis Protocol. The assembly in Crisis Protocol is way better than most miniatures games I've played. Even Legion wasn't bad originally. I haven't. The newer stuff is on sprues, so I can't really speak to it. So it's not bad. I've done it way more, so like it's less intimidating for me. But when like a part won't glue or something, that's one of the most frustrating. And like especially like if a model keeps falling apart.
Yeah, I had a lot of luck yesterday. I was very surprised.
But yeah, I think pre-assembly is also really helpful to lower the bar and get more people involved that probably wouldn't play otherwise. Which is usually my chief concern, is having people to play with. Because I'm not always stuck in a pandemic with Steven.
Not always. You wish.
No comment.
Okay, so I really do think that this process of contrast paints is getting me a very similar result to just the primed, the Zenithal.
Well, so if the Zenithal was coming through super strong on the white, it might just be too thin.
I mean, when the rest of the model is white and black, your whites aren't going to obviously look as white.
Like this looks like there's more going on here than before.
Yeah, so that had finer like fur stuff. This has a lot more of essentially the crevices, a lot of crevi.
Crevi?
I think it's supposed to be brown, but I only kill one type of animal for this force. And whatever that animal is, it's white.
Wolves.
Woofs. Woofs. Okay, and then we've got armor. We've got a lot of straps. I feel like the straps need to be tan.
Okay.
Right? How do we make a tan?
Is there not a tan color over there?
So the first place I should look.
That would probably be step
Is there one of
one.
these that says tan on it?
I think so, actually.
Actually, who am I kidding? I need to do the flesh next.
Are you gonna do traditional?
Yeah. Whatever the contrast was doing, it was not what I was needing.
Give you that yellowy stuff.
Yeah. Fridge looks a little undead.
Maybe that's best.
Mm-hmm.
More intimidating that way.
Okay, so we're gonna do Peel Dinso, heavy skin tone.
Okay.
Game extra opaque. Wow. Really creative. Where did you get this paint? Did you pull that one from the pawn shop?
GW.
Do brown and flesh for tan. Okay. All right. So start with flesh, then I'll add brown in a second.
Whew, how we doing out there? I'm feeling pretty good about this Wolverine. I am digging this. I haven't I haven't painted in a minute. But coming back in and feeling like you know what's up is great. One of the things about this black is I'm highlighting lighter and lighter and lighter. And then I'm ultimately going to do a little bit of a glaze at the end, which is a thin down. It's like even thinner than a oil or a shade. And it kind of just blends it all together really nicely. Robert's saying the assembly kills the hobby for me. I would enjoy the painting part. I just don't have many hours in my life to assemble. Yeah, that's games like Skytear pop up to the top of our list for that reason. You can dive in and play and then work on models at your own pace. It's not a whole process before you can even try the game, which is super helpful. CJ is saying glazing is what I'm doing right now to get my non-metallic red, but I can't tell if I'm doing it wrong. So there was an episode of the stream that I did these cap boots and the gloves, and it got like I was uncomfortable with how much contrast there was. I'm good, thank you. So if you get to the point where you don't think it looks good because it's too contrasty, you're probably in the right place. And then that glaze is going to just bring you back down to reality.
It's the
Most wonderful time.
I'm back.
Got some Cliff in you? Cliff bar?
Mm-hmm. One Cliff Bar for lunch?
Yeah, I'm on that regiment. Cliff bar and a cocktail. I have these blocks of my light edge color in the video suggested glazing. It just seems like a hard line between the colors. Yeah, I mean, so basically you could have very sharp, and then basically a glaze is like putting an opacity over it layer. And so the more you glaze the in-between, the more it'll kind of blend into itself.
Okay, here we go, baby. Flesh plus a little light.
Remember, fortune favors the bold. That's what the coach of the Saints said. He, they
Now,
did.
these are normal paints, right? Sorry, so I got to put water in here.
Yeah. Yeah, if you want to thin them down.
Do we use that water?
I use the black cup over there.
You use this water?
Mm-hmm.
That's the wash water.
Yep. You can get some other water if you want.
Does it not affect the paint?
Not really. No. Oh, you know what? You can also use this. That's what this is for.
Oh, that looks nice.
So you just,
look at
squeeze it and the water comes out. It's literally built for
rest my teeth too.
It's built for this.
What a beautifully
you can just,
fastidious hobby. Okay, here we go. Flesh. Now I need white. You got like a nice white that would mix nice with a flesh?
So I have ivory, which is really nice.
Yeah.
There's also straight up white.
That's too much.
Ivory isn't. I lean ivory over white. White I literally only use on like peak edges.
Okay.
Can you see the work I'm doing?
Oh yeah.
Can you tell?
I mean, well, it just looks great. Great.
Great.
whatever it took to get to that. Okay, and then you said a pop of red. I'm just just mixing it up here. Boom, boom, boom. So fortune favors the bold. Let's go.
So the red is just going to give you some warmth, right?
Let's take a look here. Okay, tell me, how fleshy is this?
Well, how close is it to your skin tone? It's a little darker.
It's a lot darker.
But
Of
again,
course, I'm hardly the example for a desert fighting
that's
gladiator.
right. So a couple things are like, if you're applying thin layers, you'll get to control how much it is that color.
Okay.
And then also, if you apply like a flesh shade, that's going to give you a natural red.
Okay. A little bit of water. Do you have to squeeze this thing?
Yeah. I would probably squeeze it. Okay. I'd squeeze it into one of these and then drip it over with my brush, but you can also do one at a time like that. So you just saying you glaze with your mid-tone. So I normally glaze with the color of whatever it's supposed to be. So like Cap's boots are red. So I literally highlighted up to pink where it now looks white. It was like a very light red. And then I glazed it with a red to kind of give it all a red tone.
Oh, we're thin now. They say thin your paints, right?
Yep. There's no
Can you
such
over
thing as
thin?
too thin.
Okay, you can't.
I mean, you'll know if it's too thin,
It'll do nothing.
it'll do
right?
nothing, yeah. Which is better than it doing the wrong thing.
All right, fridge. You're my test model. Sorry. She's incredible in the game. Really a great model.
Yeah, you kind of have to have a test.
So if we wash this, we're going to have, it's going to darken, right?
Depends on what you wash it with, but yeah.
Because this doesn't immediately look like flesh, but it's not supposed to, yeah?
It won't. You're just giving the undertone.
A little awkward working here in the fridge. Okay.
Gotta dial that contrast up to an 11. But this one goes to 11. I'm being bold over here.
Be bold, be brave. Be beautiful.
Isn't that a tagline of someone?
Oh, probably. If not, you can have it for free. That's the tagline for Nalgene. Official sponsor of the stream since 2020. Be bold, be brave, be beautiful, be hydrated. All right, how are we feeling about this?
That's a good skin color. Like with normal paints, I'd want it to look flat. So like, see where it's like dark there?
Mm-hmm.
I would do thin layers until it was a flat color.
Yeah. But that color itself is going to look like flesh at some point and not like
Tan?
I mean, you know, that
Yeah, I think it looks good. I think you're heading
is
the
that
right
what
direction.
human skin looks like? I mean, I don't even. Well, I'm gonna go with it. And you're right. Now's the time to paint. Dark at 5.
Da-na-na-na-na. How you feeling?
I don't know what skin looks like, man.
I will say painting has made me look at the world in a different way.
Yeah, and in pigments.
Well, you just start like, so you'll see like a car go by,
Mm-hmm.
and like you'll really start paying attention to how the light reflects off of it. Because like how you think something looks is not really how it actually is. Like if you look at a shirt or something,
Mm-hmm.
or like curtains or a cloth.
I heard that great artists don't see objects; they see light. Great artists? Did I say that right?
Yeah. I think that's why I always like Magali. She did light in like the most interesting, still interesting way I've ever seen. Does light, I guess.
Is this too light? How do I get it a little more? I can always go over the top of it with something darker, right?
Yeah, but like this shade, flesh shade's gonna make it darker and a little red toned.
Okay.
Once you get to a flat color
I'm gonna believe in
in the process.
the random drops of paint that I put in this pot. Believe that I somehow did it exactly the way that I wanted.
Aaron Clark says, Zach, or asks Steven and Zach, are you guys video gamers? I played a lot more as a kid, but I just purchased a Switch and I'm pretty excited. I played a lot more as a kid. I don't really play much anymore, but currently we're playing a whole lot of tabletop every week. So a lot of times I'm gamed out by the time I'm home.
Same.
That answer.
I got really into the World of Warcraft for a while. I got really into Dota for a while. Haven't really been into a video game in a long time.
You play like computer games sometimes, though, right?
Sometimes. It's still just Warcraft 3, though. With old Robert at his place. I'll do VR sometimes.
The next frontier.
Where does this... Oh, it's all flesh. Switch is great, though. Play with Jonathan sometimes. We've been playing Streets of Rage recently.
Streets of Rage, what's that all about?
Oh my gosh, it's one of the classics. Side scroller.
What'd you call me?
You just walk through the streets and beat up bad dudes.
This is like the opposite of Grand Theft Auto.
Yeah, it's a lot more one-dimensional. That's for sure. Okay. All right. You know. Flesh is flesh.
Truth.
Huh. I think I'm going to do it all on one model and see how it ultimately looks before I
Yeah. Guinea pigging.
hitch my wagon.
It's good. Good call.
It's like I see the little strand of the brush, you know?
And your paint.
It's just like, this is just so tiny. Why?
Why is James crying? You can hear the focus. How's everyone doing out there?
Aaron, what are you going to play on the Switch?
I almost bought a Switch this year.
Is that before or after you lost that bet?
After. I think it was actually the precise moment. Nah, they were redoing the Pod Racer game.
Yeah.
Which is one of the greatest games of all time. They were updating it for Switch.
Just in time.
Mm-hmm. I actually have a Nintendo 64 for that game. But
I think Mandalorian's going to flex on pod racing and just be like, yeah, I can do this too.
maybe. I believe it was this week's episode. I saw this earlier. It's directed by Dave Filoni, who's the guy that did Clone Wars and Star Wars Rebels.
Doesn't he do all of Mando?
No, that's Jon Favreau. He's heavily involved in all of Mando because he's basically he's the dude, the spirit of the universe. He also worked on Avatar.
No, good for him.
He was a prominent person.
Airbender, I assume, not
the good Avatar.
Yeah.
No offense, James Cameron. But the next episode is called The Jedi.
Cool. They're going to do it so well.
I agree.
Isn't it nice having faith in people to do good work? Gosh, I haven't felt that in a long time.
Yeah. I'm excited. I think we're going to finally get that live action Ahsoka. Which has been the dream forever.
Redcoat Max asking, how are we finding contrast?
I like it.
I found my way out of it.
I feel like it's a very specific tool that I will like for very certain colors and textures and whatnot.
Leather looks good.
Whew. My eyeballs. Tom McCall says, I hope Atomic Mass brings out a pod racing game. That'd be very specific. That would be more of a board game in my mind. Jeremy Kwan saying The Mandalorian has kind of restored my faith in Star Wars. Yep, I'm with you. I needed it.
I think everybody's there. I have more faith in this than I have previously. When it dries,
And the skin tone.
it looks good, man.
Yeah. Yeah, it's looking good from here.
Yeah, this is a real person. human being.
Those legs were made for walking.
Just dunk it right in your wet palette while I'm looking at them.
Not gonna bother me.
I would be the bothered person in that exchange.
You're gonna be the. Yeah, that would be a bummer. My goodness, I love this. I love knowing what I'm doing.
Yeah, it's a great feeling.
Yeah. Like I'm really comfortable pushing the contrast here because I know I'm going to glaze it back down into oblivion. James, how's that assembly coming?
Okay. Dang it, I'm actually having to like paint.
This is not what I planned. Aaron H saying, I read the original Thrawn trilogy and it made me love Star Wars again. Yeah, that's that was actually what took my fascination from Star Wars to an entirely new level. It's like I watched the movies and I loved that. I loved the movies. And then those were the first books that I read. And when I read those, I became obsessed. I wanted to read every book. Of course, none of them were as good as those books. For a long time, I thought, well, it was just because those were the first books I read. Nope, it's just true. It was one of the few compelling villains in the Star Wars universe that wasn't Darth Vader centric.
Am I supposed to be saying things?
Nope, here's pain. Let's see what chat's saying. Sugi saying licking brushes is kind of a rite of passage. It's just a thing painters do. Damjen saying, what's some of the best recommendations for Star Wars books? Where to start? So when Disney bought Star Wars, they kind of rebooted the what used to be called the extended universe. They made that what's now referred to as Legends. So they don't. It's basically like, hey, these are stories that people told that may or may not be true. But they basically wanted to change the timeline and all kinds of stuff. So there's a whole series of new books, and there's some really good ones in there. But there was like 20 years of old books that were made. And one of the problems and why they, I think, almost necessarily had to kind of clear the slate was that the approval on those old books was a lot less stringent. So some of them were pretty wild and like doing things that were kind of crazy. But the Thrawn trilogy, the original, is like really good. And then there's any number of good books after that. But the Thrawn trilogy is definitely a great place to start. How you doing over there?
I'm good. My back's gonna hurt. I'm not doing the thing that I was supposed to do, which is breathe and sit up straight.
Yep. Easy to fall for that. By the way, this is the color that comes out when I mix that light gray with the brown that I was talking about. It's kind of a tan.
Yeah.
Just gives some energy.
Tan energy.
Well, it gives some warmth because I'm going to ultimately end up glazing it black. So it'll be...
And what's a glaze?
So like when you wash, you know how the it kind of runs into the crevices and creates shadows.
Yeah.
So a glaze is like even thinner, so that it almost dries immediately on impact. So it's in Photoshop terms, it would be like having a 10% opacity, whatever color you're using, or 15%, and then just throwing that on top. So you basically do really extreme under, and then you layer that over top, and it makes everything like if it's supposed to be black, you would do a black gloss or a black glaze over it. So it would make your even like this warm color with a black over it is just gonna make it seem like it's all like it's like light hitting the black instead of it being an actual different color.
Okay.
Like if you look at my cap, anywhere where it's not strictly black, I highlight it up to this color. And then I put a black layer on top of it.
And
which
you did
made
the
it
glaze
darker.
on top.
Mm-hmm. Groon's saying, what's the brand of brush you guys are using? Are those the unscrew handle to give you a cap? So that the ones I have are Games and Gears brushes. I got those at Adepticon several years ago. And Steven's using the Windsor Sable or Windsor Newton Sable brushes, which those are probably my favorite if I were choosing and or recommending.
These that I have are used for like all sorts of things, right?
They're used for painters, real painters,
Mm-hmm.
not just miniatures. Not that that's not real painting, but like two-dimensional paint. Mm-hmm. Feel the rhythm.
I think they changed Sven's model.
From your last one.
Yeah, it's way better. He's got feathers now.
Nice. That's when you know you've made it.
Yeah. Officially looks like a part of the faction.
He didn't have feathers last time. He just didn't apply them.
Maybe that's very possible. Probably just lost them immediately.
I feel like that was so long ago last time we were into it.
It really was. Everything's so long ago these days.
Yeah. This year also makes it feel like everything was a decade ago.
Why are you so intricate? Some people really love it.
You can imagine if you did this all the time, you'd eventually want more of a challenge.
Yeah. I can imagine. Can a man dream?
You sure can.
Thank you.
Yeah. We eventually got there.
Thank you. Making that clear.
Aaron Clark says, so you bring a lot of older games for Throwback Thursdays. Are all of these games ones that you've kept from childhood? If so, how many are you guys holding on to? A lot of them aren't. A lot of the early ones were because that's what I had on hand when all this started, the pandemic. But a bunch of them were games we'd always heard about and always wanted to try. So I just hunted down various product and starters and stuff that I could. And so we started featuring a bunch of different games. So now I have a bunch of old games. It used to be a handful. Like I had Star Wars CCG cards and TCG, and Lord of the Rings TCG. Some Monpoc stuff and spoils. But this year, tons of the games we throw back to we didn't own or play previously.
You really get to know these models, don't you?
Every millimeter. And you'll see things on your models that no one else will ever see. It's the nature of the beast.
It's just disappointing I'm going to have to do all of this again.
Francis asking, is this a custom Wolverine color scheme or based on something? So it's a little bit of both. There's an X-Force Wolverine that's kind of primarily black, which is, if you're doing primarily black, there's only so many ways to paint a Wolverine model.
Primarily black.
Yeah. But my entire scheme is kind of heavy black and whites with pops of color. So I always look for paint schemes from the comics that are primarily that way. There's a really cool white, like Magneto, like almost all white, that I'm going to be painting him like. But he kind of looks like what you would expect him to look like if I painted him like any of the models I'm painting. I'll show you my Thor in a second. But yeah, it's just using black and white as my two primaries. And comic book heroes are usually pretty... they usually only feature a couple colors. If you look at most of them, you can imagine if you're drawing 1,000 panels with a character on it, how you'd want a costume to look. Can you imagine?
I can't. Face is a very stressful
Thing to paint.
yeah.
Yeah, it's easy to mess that one up.
And if you do, just like a real face, you never really recover.
Francis saying a wet palette is a must for me now. Yeah, they're really, really good. Grunhair is saying I wouldn't call myself a great minis painter, but a wet palette like they use for here is one of those things I'd never go without again. Claire asking, a wet palette, is that the thing that keeps your paint from drying out between sessions? Yeah, that's what this is right here. It's got like a foam on the bottom, and it's got this like wax paper on top. And you basically keep the bottom wet, and then it seals. And so like, see how I have these layers of color here? If I needed to stop right now and come back and paint Wolverine later, having these particular mixtures of colors available to me would be very helpful. And so the wet palette basically lets me close it and come back and have this exact color set up ready for me to go. So like when I'm painting at home particularly, it's really nice. Because I can just close it and then come back the next day.
Man, I did a very good job with this. It's not what you expected, was it?
No. Are you feeling happy about it? It's always a good feeling.
Let's not get ahead of ourselves on that, but
But you're feeling good.
What do you think? It looks fleshy, right?
Yep.
It's not too outside the lines. I might have to do it again.
No, but it's a good color, right?
It's a great color.
It's a good flesh color.
Yeah, it's great. Not only is it good, Zach, it's great.
It is great. Why don't you put the shade on it too after you're done?
But now you don't want to stop because you don't want to lose the flesh color you've made.
You need to paint all your flesh, yeah.
Oh my gosh. What time is it? Oh my gosh.
You love to see it. Someone texted us that this morning. Like, you've been watching our streams.
You love to see it?
Yeah. Sent a picture of your prime models and talked about you painting your stuff, and someone was like, you love to see it.
Yeah, that's the inside track right there.
Little insider baseball. How's everyone coping with what's bound to be a bizarro Thanksgiving 2020? Yeah, we got any fun plans? Keeping it super chill. I feel like it's gonna make everything next year.
Yeah.
I still think one of the weirdest things is gonna be being at a birthday party and seeing someone blow out candles on a cake and then people eat that cake. It's like, wait a second. What about the Rona?
Perhaps we never should have been doing it.
For real though. When you think about it now, it's like, wait a second.
There's germs out there.
What's on that cake? It's not just vanilla.
I definitely don't care about getting color on the base. Are we all in agreement on that?
Yeah. If I'm you, I'm probably eventually putting sand on that base
Yeah.
and just covering it all up. But you know, to each their own.
I'm amazed at how much less precise I've gotten now that I'm deciding to try to get all this flesh done.
Commentator JR saying I'm connecting live with virtually with people. That's good. Sam was saying I had Thanksgiving a month ago. It was definitely weird, but I have to say I appreciate there not being 30 plus people in the house.
Yeah. Wow,
It is more intimate.
That's a big Thanksgiving.
David Vegel, don't share paintbrushes. Commentator JR saying I bought a toy airplane and 2 model cars to paint and enjoy my free time.
Sven, you look good, dude. You look really good.
Damjen saying I'm great to see Steven enjoying this.
Oh, let's not say that.
Gruner is saying I've had the same Arena Rex models ever since the Kickstarter, and I've yet to paint them because they're basically all flesh. And I hate painting skin.
Well, let me be an inspiration to you. It's not any better than you think. But old Svenny look, this is a normal looking thing. Look at this. This looks like a human being.
Achieved.
Gonna go hunt some Romans.
Hey, that's me.
That's right. I'm glad you noticed. I do think I'm just gonna do them all. I mean, if they're all hanging out in the same reality, and if they're all from the same place,
I would skin tone them all the same.
Yeah. It'll really tie the set together. Oh my gosh, look at all this. Oh my gosh.
Nothing to it but to do it.
Short, exaggerated breaths is the key to relaxing.
Is that true?
No.
Seems anti-true.
Yep.
Good, I'm glad I'm there.
You must have that Calm app.
I just paint.
The only app I need is a paintbrush. Put that on a billboard.
Yeah, GW. Charge it. When you guys shipping out?
To our house?
Yeah.
Well, that's the eternal question, isn't it? The key thing is got to be done.
Is the stuff that was happening today happening?
It's happened.
Happened or
I mean,
happening?
I don't know of anything that happens until it's happened. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you don't get informed until it's done.
And also, it's just like it hasn't actually happened until I've seen it.
True that.
I know better.
That's how I feel about like announcing
I've
products,
been in business.
or like when we're gonna get a restock, or when something's shipping. It's like, well, until it's in our hands, I'm not really willing to say anything. Too many things can go wrong.
That's right.
I think it's just part of experience and getting old. You've seen things go south.
Nothing ever goes wrong in this industry.
He's funny. You see? Don't
she-
you get it?
Does she have boots on? I mean,
Boots on the ground.
I'm gonna need a second opinion.
Okay, almost there.
I don't think she's got boots on this one. I think the Arena Rex mandate is basically make sure that nothing that they're doing is uniform.
Samuel wants to know what paints are using for flesh. I just slapped a Reclin flesh shade on there and call it a day.
I've got a mixture of heavy skin tone, white, and water. This leg that's planted on the ground, it doesn't have the same thing on the left leg, yeah? Is it just flesh?
Yeah, it looks like that one's pretty bare bones.
Like flesh, though?
Yeah.
Bare bones would imply no flesh.
I get it. Whew. It's been a day. I'm going home.
But look, you've just finally applied gray to Wolverine.
We did it. Look at his back. Look at all that work.
That's awesome. I mean, it looks phenomenal. It's absolutely fantastic. Do you have to have a wet palette to do what you're doing?
No, not at all. It makes it where you can have more colors out at the same time. See how this is still just not dry?
Mm-hmm.
Normally that would be
Yeah.
gone. But I didn't use all the colors the whole time. So technically you could just pour your paint as you go. The main thing is that like if I had to stop right now, getting this exact blend back.
That's why I'm nervous about it, yeah. It's an impossibility.
Yeah. Let's go one layer more. Impossible. Isn't there a Don Quixote song about the impossible? What's that? Dream
that-
the Impossible Dream.
Like a series?
Don
Is that a
Quixote?
movie?
Have you not seen Don Quixote?
No, I've read the book. Absolute classic. But no, I haven't seen the movie. What is it, like an animated one?
No, it's a real movie.
Oh.
It's the only Don Quixote I know.
It's weird because when people use the word quixotic,
Mm-hmm.
you don't say quixotic. That weird?
Yeah, there's a lot of words like that that I don't get. But I read by feel, so there's a lot about the English language I don't really get.
Braille?
That's a good joke.
Thanks.
I'm here for that party.
I'm beginning to think now that there is something metal going on.
On her leg.
Yeah. But I'm also beginning to think that it's not going to be going on for much longer.
Well, if you don't want it to go on, it surely doesn't have to.
Let's let the paint do the talking here. Let's see. That's just what they'll do. One of these days, these boots.
Man of La Mancha. That's the musical.
Oh, very nice. That's right. Yeah.
And there's like a Dream the Impossible Dream song. I remember that.
How could you possibly dream something impossible?
That's the whole point of Don Quixote. It's like his thesis, dude.
Ah, yes.
Oh, yes. A butterburger. That's what that reminded me of. What's the name of the butterburger place? I'm trying to think of it.
Brahms, if they tried.
Yeah.
Culver's.
Culver's Butterburger. There it is. Butterburger. I was thinking about the other day, like, how long it's been since we've been on a trip. Which was March, of course. But we used to travel so much.
Yep. Not sure it was worth it. Now that we're not. That's the weird thing about this. It's just going to change habits.
Yeah, I was listening to an NPR session the other day that was basically like talking about how business travel is probably permanently damaged.
Yeah. Because, like, there's no way. Just get on a Zoom call.
Yeah. And like a lot of the conferences that used to happen at like big, hotels like a Gamma. It's like, especially for random business, it's just like, what are we doing?
Yeah. I think everybody knew
Like,
deep down they were
hotels
pretty
are
worthless.
terrified right now, by the way.
Yeah, that's good. They can Airbnb too.
Yeah. Getting attacked from all sides. But those who offer value and are good at what they do will survive. Always is. All right. Feeling pretty good about this here contrast. Let's do some wet blending on these big shoulder pads of old Wolvie.
Nice words, nice words.
It sounds like you're doing something fancy.
Really sounds like you know exactly what you're up to. I'm trying to paint the flesh a flesh color and not get anything else that color.
Fleshed.
All right, this is the moment. See, this is when I definitely wish that I had not put this together yet.
Get one of those difficult to reach places.
That's right. Oh, baby, though, I nailed it. Whoo! Who's laughing now? Model.
You really showed him. Or her. I don't know what model you're doing right now.
Leica. Okay. It's the hard to reach. Oh my gosh. Do you ever... You guys
What?
do this all day at the store?
I would only ever do it for like 5 or 6 hours.
Oh my gosh.
But there's like coffee breaks, etc. There's beer 30. A lot of tradition. It's also like not someone you're usually streaming 30 hours a week with. So like a big part of it is just
Enjoying your company.
seeing people you haven't seen in a month.
Hmm.
Kind of the opposite of what we're dealing. Thanksgiving yet? Can I see Steven a week from now?
How do you even...
Just kidding.
Got to do kind of obscene things to get this painted. Okay.
Now you're talking like a true miniature wargamer.
Oh my gosh, yeah. Higher praise there is not, I assure you.
It's like,
Okay, here we go.
I have to do these obscene
Daddy.
things.
But you have to... Oh, I just nailed that. I just nailed that. Ooh, I don't think that was supposed to be flesh. That's not what we needed there.
That's the best.
That's not what we needed.
I did it perfectly, but I did the wrong thing.
Flipped when I should have flopped. All right.
Been there before.
Ooh, there's some flashing.
You can use that X-Acto knife.
Yeah, is it still out?
Yeah, it's over there.
These boots were made for walking.
And that's just what they'll do.
I think Johnny Cash version there.
That's how I was taught to sing. Hello, Johnny Cash. One of the few things both my mother and my grandpa loved. He was more of a, what's that guy's name? Famous country singer. Old. Hank Williams. There
Hank
it is.
Williams, yeah.
I was gonna say he didn't like Junior, whatever the Junior was.
Yeah, nobody really did. And the third is just like,
What are you doing?
yeah, completely no.
You're
You
really
sing that Monday Night Football song.
the third?
All my rowdy friends are here for Monday night. Wow, come on and get ready.
My favorite was the Faith Hill version.
Are you ready? Faithful version of what?
Monday Night Football.
Really? She didn't?
Mm-hmm.
All right, that's a fine place to have something not go my way. Okay, how many we got? Now, these are not super fleshy. Ah, this guy is. She's got furs, though.
Boots. How you doing over there?
Oh, as you can tell, I'm doing fine. That's why all these noises are happening.
You seem very fine.
Put this X-Acto knife up.
Yeah, I would not prefer to get shanked.
Okay, let's go.
Hey. Oh.
I'm gonna get my Holden wand. Maybe that's better. Yeah, it is. When you watch really good painters, do they do like a lot of quick strokes? Or is it like one, like, I know exactly where I want this stroke?
Well, I guess it depends on
Yeah, like all things in this freaking hobby.
what they're paying.
It depends.
I will say they care a lot less about accuracy up front.
Yeah, because they like know what they're doing.
Yeah. It's like they know when they're going to come back and be able to cover something up. All right, Wolvie. So my next phase on him is ultimately the white, which I'm not going to do because that's a whole new set of paint.
Take care, damn Jim. Enjoy.
Feeling pretty good about this so far.
I mean, yeah, it's looking tops.
I might steal your flesh. Creepy.
Oh. Call HR. A Shylock
Hello?
situation here.
That's my number.
Ah.
What'd you ultimately do with your flesh tone? How'd you get there?
I took the flesh.
This base color over here?
Yeah.
Heavy skin tone. And then what? Did you water it down?
I added 2 drops of white, as I remember. And then I added some water.
Ivory white?
Yeah. I think that was really the key, honestly.
Yeah.
You want to know the truth. The truth about the truth.
Whole truth, nothing but the truth.
Okay, this is good. How long was the most recent Mando episode?
38, 39 minutes-ish.
I like those.
Yeah, the most recent one was really good. It's actually directed by Carl Weathers.
Mr. Withers.
Creed himself.
Well.
Very good.
Yeah, it's just great because it's always just great.
Yeah.
Don't have to go into the theater and just clinch up the whole time.
Just roll the dice. My Matt the other day sent me a message. He's very much not a Last Jedi fan,
Right.
as you're aware.
Mm-hmm.
What up, Mr. Kratos? I'm painting Wolverine. Steven's painting some Arena Rex. But he sent this thing that was if Mandalorian, or if Ryan Johnson directed Mandalorian. And it's an image of when Luke's throwing the lightsaber behind him, except for they have an image of Baby Yoda over the lightsaber. And the person handing him the lightsaber is Mandalorian instead of Rey.
Mm-hmm.
And then I responded and said, maybe that's true, but here's what it would look like if J.J. Abrams directed it. And then it was just a dumpster on fire. And I was very proud of myself. I thought that was very funny.
He didn't say anything, did he?
He did not. It ended the conversation.
Yeah, that's how you know. We got him.
We got him, boys.
Ladies and gentlemen. We got him. I'm learning that you got to remix that paint every now and again.
Or it dries out.
Well, yeah, and I feel like I'm just getting the worst of it. Like it's gotten just worse.
It's like thicker.
Yeah, it's just not going on as well.
Mm-hmm.
Like, yeah, this is way better. My goal is to end up painting these better than the ones I actually had painted.
Nice.
You know?
Aspire to improve.
Pay for it, lose them, come back in,
Do
wreck
better
it.
yourself. Yeah. If you get to the point where you're painting them better than you could pay to have something painted,
I don't know.
pretty sweet.
But if you do that, then it's like, well, now you don't have an excuse.
Time. Time is a valuable asset.
Valuable excuse. It is actually a very valuable excuse. And true.
Yeah. It is a true hobby.
His hair.
Who are we talking about?
Gyaller?
Yaller.
Yeah, Holler's got a strange haircut. It's probably the era. They do their research. Beautiful face, though.
They can also play some jazz, right? Because they're mixing and matching some cultures.
They can play some jazz, but one does not simply create this like middle of head down mohawk.
Hairpiece.
The face, man.
Is it like super detailed?
Yeah, it's great, and you like don't want to cover any of the detail up.
Mm-hmm.
Just reluctant painting. That Zenithal helps so much.
Glad to hear that.
It lets you flourish. Okay, are we done with flesh here? Are you done with this? Do you have any more flesh that I need to worry about?
We're not done yet.
Oh, you do. Secret.
Secrets aren't a fun. More office quotes. It's always on in the background of my house.
No one's gonna see behind that shield, right?
Whew.
No. No one's gonna look at that.
Nah.
No one's gonna look at that.
You have to remember, most of the time you're going to be seeing it like this.
Yeah.
Look at that flash. Nice.
Yeah, it's good. It's a good look. We'll have a good. I mean, you could already play with those.
Yeah.
That's the good thing. I do feel like the flesh is really kind of the like. All right, as long as we got this done.
As long as this is popping.
It looks like a thing. It doesn't look like somebody just got it off the shelf.
Yeah. You can at least tell the difference between it and the other things on the table.
Does Wolverine have any flesh?
He does have flesh. I haven't painted it yet.
Man. Definitely this is the stream that I've said flesh the most on.
I don't know, flesh and blood?
Oh man, you're right. I was immediately wrong.
Got him. That's so funny.
Have you
Wait,
considered?
I'm wrong. Oh, lordy. Yeah, Wolverine's got a lot, actually. He's got those bazookas of arms.
Yeah, I like the love affair you're having with Wolverine. It's great.
Yeah, he's a beefy boy. He's got the beef. How's everyone doing out there? I'm going to take a break from this.
Yeah, we're almost there, man.
So my next layers on Wolverine are white and this flesh tone. And then I need to glaze the black and then the white to make the contrast not as heavy, but still apparent. Then he's done. I haven't done the white or the flesh.
That really looks good, man. Let me, once I get this flesh done, we'll zoom in.
Zoom and enhance.
We'll zoom and enhance, that's right.
Yeah, it's the craziest thing about black is that the more you make it not black, the more it looks black. Like the shadows have to be black. Also, like if you want to see something on the table, you just have to make the contrast crazy. This looks a lot like my cap did before I did the gloss layer. Nathan Cooper, can you explain what you're doing with Wolverine? No color. So I'm doing black and white. If you look at my cap here, he's got like a dark black costume, and I left red as highlight color on him. On the whites, I'm doing like this Thor. So like Magneto will look a lot like this if things go well.
Let me get you zoomed in. Did it work?
Yep. So
Hey, that looks good now.
you can see, thanks. The white at like the peak is white, but on the base is gray, which is the secret. On his fabric here, it's like it gets whiter at the peak. Same with cap. It's black at the base, but then it gets lighter as you go. And again, this is painted on so you don't have to like see the light doesn't have to be reflecting correctly for it to look like the light's reflecting off of it. So with Wolverine, I'm kind of doing the same thing as Cap. He's mid-process though, so I'm basically highlighting up from black all the way to like a beigeish brown, which adds some warmth, but then I'll gloss a black over and it'll make it look a lot more like this cap on the black bits at least. And then I'm also doing white. So on models where I can do black and white, I'm doing it. So Wolverine's got like the corners here, his boots and his gloves and his face pieces here will be white. And these like things coming down. And basically like angular stuff in his belt. And I'll probably do the X as like a certain, like a color And then his claws will be shiny. So she's saying, I can't tell you guys how perfect the stream is to have on while I'm working from home. That's awesome. Well, we're glad you're hanging out with us. Thanks, Nathan on the Thor, saying he thinks the Thor's amazing. That was definitely Thor and Cap where I was really learning how to do black and white. So a BP over here, which is similar blacks. We're just starting to learn how to paint the highlights on. I was also doing non-metallic black metal, like on this hammer. I don't know if you can see it. The lighting in this room is also bizarrely different than where I'm painting normally. It's very bright, which is good. But like the helmet, I wanted to be metal, but not like shiny metal. It's also this sweet Hulk my brother painted for me. Look at that. It has some color. You look on the screen, it's just like, oof.
Here's Hulk. Here's Hulk.
Nathan saying, I'm just getting into painting, so this is super cool. Yeah, if you haven't seen the painting blog on the website, it's called like Painting Miniatures. It's on the blog section, very recent. I list all the materials. That was one of the biggest burdens for me, is learning all the materials and how to use them. Taylor saying, I just opened my 2 boxes of Welcome to Wraith and Arcane Rising. Opened a Tunic and Enlightened Strike and 2 CNCs. What's CNC?
Enlightened Strike's incredible. Command and Conquer.
Command and Conquer, yeah.
That's a great box. All those cards are phenomenal. We don't have any Command and Conquer still.
Wow. That's from Arcane Rising?
I think it's Arcane.
I got two unlimited boxes coming in.
Okay.
Also, unlimited singles are way more reasonable.
Oh, yeah.
So that's helpful. After this point, I'm probably going to go that route to get whatever else we
All
really
singles,
need.
yeah.
Or trades. That's the upside of all of it, too. I have to decide if I want to keep that Heart of Fame, though.
Yep.
I'm tempted to keep it. I mean, there's a number eventually. Yeah, you can see this Wolverine's back. So like I'm basically the contrast on miniatures. One, this would be fine if I actually left them like this. I think on the blacks, it's very high contrast, and I dig that quite a bit actually. But the blending that I'll do will make it take this kind of a look, which is like just more muted, especially like the in-betweens, like going from one color to the next. And I'll do that with a gloss, which I'm a fan of. So, but I'll do that after I've done the actually painted the whites and his flesh tones and stuff. This model's gonna I think look really good. They did a really good job on the actual sculpts. Anytime you can make the just natural curves of the model make colors easy to pop is good. Silver Shadow asking why black and white on Wolverine looks cool, but I'm just wondering. So, effectively, I like the black and white color scheme in general. There's a lot of models that work. Here's Storm. I did a very quick base coat of black yesterday with contrast. But essentially, my kind of thesis on my army up front was heavily black and white with pops of color. So like on Thor, I have the gold is his kind of one color that's going on. On Cap, it's the red. I left the shield the same because his shield wouldn't get painted depending on the outfit he decided to wear. But I had the red pop. Black Panther, I have a little bit of gold. And I did that actually with all the Wakanda stuff, which black and gold is just a winning combination, in my opinion.
You said it, man.
So I'm kind of exploring that across everything. So like I did these yesterday, exploring contrast. This is Sabretooth. I need to do a lot more here, but you get the idea. Magneto, I'll end up painting a lot more like my Thor. He's got a cool white costume. And one is I like the color scheme. Two, those are two of the apparently more challenging colors to work with, and particularly together when they're next to each other, it's even crazier. So when I saw my friend James, who taught me a lot of what I know about painting, when I was telling him about the idea of potentially doing black and white, his face sold me, which is like he thought I was crazy. But it's been good. I think I've learned so much about painting. Someday when I'm painting something else that's actually got like a lot of color in it, I think I will. It'll be like taking the weight vest off almost.
Yeah, dude. Almost.
Samuel Slagger saying you're almost there. With the Dumb of the Flesh. Hobby store up here had a deal for a playset of every common and rare from Welcome to Wraith that I was able to get. Really excited for it to come in since I've only ordered Arcane Rising so far. That's a great start. Samuel saying the Wolverine looks awesome. Thanks. Getting started. H. Riviera saying only ones I'm missing to complete my Crisis Protocol set are Groot and Rocket. That's actually the only two that I bought from the Guardians of the Galaxy wave. Because I just like Rocket and Groot so much. Silver Shadow saying reminds me of Sin City where it's mostly black and white with splashes of bright color. Yeah. Definitely makes the color, like on this Sabretooth, that's just that yellow obviously sticks. It makes it super bright because it's not next to a bunch of other stuff. Beast is mostly blue, so it doesn't really count. You got black pants on though. Those little jorts. Mystique. Same. I really like the, there's a scene in, I think the Avengers Endgame movie where they're kind of time traveling and they all wearing like the black Avengers get up. And that was really where it started. It was like, it would be cool if they all were in uniform, so to speak.
Okay. We're just going to say, yeah.
How you feeling?
I think I'm going to give her sleeves. Yeah, I think she's got them. I can't tell.
What do you paint them on?
Do you think she's got sleeves on there?
On her arms?
Yeah. The thing comes around and it's like, what is it?
I think you can definitely paint it like sleeves and it would look like sleeves.
It'd be fun.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that skin tone ended up turning out really nice.
It turned out, like, look on the face. When it dries, it really does look good.
Yeah.
When she wash it through now. Will I do another layer
It's the grand question.
of flesh?
These models are crazy.
Yeah. Dynamic. Beautiful. Probably will. I'm a glutton for punishment. Like this, I mean, this is, that looks good. Looks like a normal person.
Yep.
I mean, for what?
Taylor, what are those models, Steven? Brutalis, what are
Arena
those
Rex,
miniatures?
Arena Rex, the miniatures game.
Gladiatorial Combat. It's a great
Look
game.
at that! Look at that model. Come on. Who doesn't want to get axed by this guy? That looks great. Yeah, you can put these right on the table.
Are you going to do the white on his shield as like a metal color?
Yeah. I'll start. I think next time if we get together, we'll do like metals.
Yeah, that's your next step.
I mean, at a certain point, you just have to get it done.
We got him, ladies and gentlemen.
You can't leave it half done.
Yeah,
that will drive me crazier than painting.
But like the reality that your entire force of 5 models here, you're probably 2 paint streams away.
10 hours?
If I had to guess.
Yeah.
For all those models, that's really not bad.
It's not bad. It's not bad. And it will only look better as I go, I'm sure.
Yeah. I think the skin on her is particularly good.
Yeah.
Zoomed in. She's a cool model too.
Great model.
That crown is cool.
How are you going to make that net a net? You got any techniques for that? You got any net colors? White? Gray?
I would almost do metal
Silver?
on the like lines that are poking
A
out.
lot of dry brushing?
Maybe. It would be so, it's so, like the impressions are so deep
Mm-hmm.
that if you just took your color, like your metal, and you just did this, you don't have to try.
Just trace the lines, basically.
Yeah. And then especially because you'll put your Nuln oil on top.
Mm-hmm.
So any of the silver that gets down in the recess parts will just get covered up by your wash.
Do you do the whole model in the oil? Is that where you live? Because sometimes that makes them look dirty, you know?
Yeah. So I would do like her skin with a flesh shade.
Mm-hmm.
And I would do metal with a Nuln oil.
Right on.
And then earthier colors, there's brown, there's Seraphim Sepia. There's also a brown.
Also known as angel brown.
Yeah, there's browns. On the whites, It's probably Nuln Oil, but it depends on how clean you want the look to be.
Right on. All right.
We did it.
We did
You want to go full screen?
It's exhausting. You guys do this so
I feel like you're really, really putting the energy in there.
I was painting the flesh that not even I will see again.
But you know it's there.
Yeah, that's right.
The other thing that I
I'm a
really
fair god.
like about Arena Rex, particularly, as I'm painting Crush Protocol, is I always felt like I was willing to put the time in because there were so few models.
Yeah.
That's why I like skirmish games particularly.
Yeah.
I feel the same way about Skytear. They're not going to put that many models out. It's going to be a pretty special thing when new models come out. So that makes me more willing to invest the time to paint those particular models.
100%.
And
look, the white tiger is already done.
Magic.
Just paint a few stripes, you're done.
But like, I don't, dude, look, that's a nice. It's crazy. That looks nice.
It does look nice.
I think I would probably dry brush.
Yeah, like a white dry brush.
Like a real white, and that's gonna look fantastic.
Yeah. Yeah.
Just straight up.
I mean, at a certain point, I'll just roll through here with all sorts of weird colors and just paint everything a weird color. Because what I've learned about this is the more different colors you can have in the same place, it differentiates all the features, right?
Yeah.
So if you can pull it off, it's like that's tan and that's a lighter brown and that's a green and that's it's like, and then all of a sudden you're like, there's so much stuff on this model. If you just go through and paint it all brown, you're gonna miss all that.
Yeah. Well, and I think when you paint the metal, it's gonna really help. Because like I'm looking at this guy's arm, it's gonna look really good. Same here.
Yeah, I'm gonna make those gold. I think
it's really just gonna pop quick.
They're gonna have gold plate because
like he's gonna have the metal here on the knife and the armor and the net. It's like that's gonna look good.
Yeah. All right, well let's do it again then. What do you think?
We'll have to be back. Nathan's saying just got the end, but I love the chill paint streams and just listening to you guys chat. Well, we were focused this time. There was not a lot of chat, and that went by weirdly fast. Like, do you remember?
No.
That was weird.
I remember nothing.
I got lost in it. Happy to be here. Happy to have everyone here. I hope everyone has a great Thanksgiving. You guys have been fantastic this whole year, so we appreciate it. Stay safe, and we'll catch you guys on the other side of the holiday. So see you next week.
Have a great Thanksgiving, everybody.